Building downtown. Building downtown.
Hey, yo, it's the Building Downtown. You can follow us on social media at the Building DT. I'm your host, Jason Kelly. You can follow me at JKellyMMA. You can follow my co-host, Amy Barton, at Ames Bell. And my other co-host who couldn't be with us tonight, unfortunately, Krill Kasatsky. Follow him at Apostle Raps. And make sure you stay up to date on his social media right now as he's transitioning from Russian to English hip-hop. There's a trailer out for his debut English hip-hop song called Nicest Yet. And the video will be coming along shortly. Now, what we got going on tonight, KOTD Grand Prix stuff. When this thing started off in September, we got behind it quick. First, we had on the Captain of the South. We did 2 shows with him, direct, spent over 3 hours with him. Then the Captain of the East, Poison Pen, spent over 4 hours with him. Now we're going to the West, spending some time with the Captain. This man has been between 2 people hurling insults at each other more than every bouncer at every bar and nightclub in the entire world. Throw your roosters up. Give me an Uno. Lush One. How's it going, my man?
Man. Back in full effect. You think you hold the cards, I pull the deck.
Oh, shit.
Uno. Come on.
There it is. So, Lush, I have been a fan of battle rap for a very long time. And almost as far back as my memory of battle rap goes, you go almost as far back. So where did battle rap come into your life?
When my mom was in her 3rd trimester, she was walking through a park in the South Bronx. I think it was. I just remember, being born and raised in Los Angeles. There is always a heavy element of freestyle, battle rap, hip hop culture was around me from a young age, and I just remember. Being in middle school, cats was rhyming a lot, you know what I mean? And it would, due to the intrinsic need that MCs have to try to get attention and impress, in particular, females, it would often escalate into a battle. And that was around the time I started really trying to rhyme myself. So it was up and it was stuck from an early age.
So were you a fan of hip hop before freestyling and battling, or vice versa?
No. I mean, to me, like freestyling is an essential aspect of the emceeing element of the culture. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like,
I agree.
In fact, all elements have elements of freestyle. There's freestyle dancing that b-boys do. There's, you know what I mean? Like, just DJs going off and going crazy with the cuts. Unrehearsed, just impromptu. That's, freestyle DJing, like fools catching random spots, freestyling and graffiti. So no, I was so it's one and the same, but I was into hip hop from a super early age. My older brothers put me on, Ice-T, NWA, the Fat Boys, Eric B and Rakim, before I could understand all the bad words I was saying. I was saying.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I got in at a young age too, like late 80s. I was born in 80, and as a little kid, the group of buildings I grew in, right, all the kids played together. So, there were some kids that I played road hockey with or whatever, and they were 13 while I was 8 or some shit. So I was exposed to some NWA, Big Daddy Kane, and like the things NWA was spitting. I was having this conversation with somebody not too long ago. To me, it seemed like a movie because I was so young, and it wasn't until the Los Angeles riots happened I was old enough to realize what was going on. I was like, yo, that shit they're saying is for real. And that the reality, the real, I guess, street rap or whatever they wanted to call it that time, that drew me in even more. Was there a style that drew you in more, whether it be, what was considered gangster rap, or I know that you're a huge fan of the Bay Area hip hop and all that movement, but was there a style that drew you in first more than the other? Or maybe, who even knows, you might flip shit here and say, yeah, New York style.
I mean, when I first heard it, wasn't able to differentiate it. But I would say that I definitely like the aggressive, hard edge nature of gangster rap. Being from LA, of course, it spoke to me. But, what I love about hip hop, it's kind of like you said, is it creates a visceral experience and transports you to a different place. You know what I mean? And you get to learn about different cultures, the different idiosyncrasies of all these specific regions. I feel like hip hop music is a reflection of the specific area that it comes from. So I was into all of it from an early age. You didn't really hear too much outside of New York and LA, and that's really what it was.
And do you remember, like, are you old enough to remember when the riots were going on and how that affected hip hop and the music that was coming out, especially from the LA area?
Yeah, 100%. So I'm born
What
in
was that like?
1981. It was I remember I was in downtown LA when the riots started, actually.
Whoa.
And it was crazy. I was with my mom and one of my other homies and his mom. And we were at a movie premiere, actually. You're like a screening for a movie. My dad's in the film industry, so.
Oh, okay.
We were at a little screen. Happened to be one of my little white homies too, actually. And we watched the movie. It was kind of whack, whoop-de whoop whoop. And we're in like the main hallway, like the lobby of the theater, and then a bunch of fools ran up on the theater, started pounding on the outside of it. And I remember somebody actually, I have a vivid memory to this day. Somebody with a spray can sprayed the word guilty on the theater.
Holy
I could see it through the windows. Like the outside walls were all like windows, so you could see directly. Them motherfuckers could have easily thrown a brick through that bitch. Busted it open.
Fuck. How old were you?
So this was 92. I was 10 years old because my birthday's in December. So yeah, my birthday's actually tomorrow.
Yeah, happy birthday, Eve.
Happy birthday.
But yeah, so I remember that vividly. And then like we run to the parking lot, get in the car, and I remember my mom telling us, like, yo, me and my homie, like, duck in the like, get down on the fucking floor. You feel me? Like, and I was like, oh, I'm scared, Mom. I don't want to. Do I have to? And my mom's like, get on the fucking floor. She's like the sweetest lady ever. Barely, she's Italian though, from the Bronx. So when she turns up, it's like it's a noticeable contrast, but it's also from her usual demeanor. But she knows how to do it, being who she is, where she's from. So like, yeah, I remember being terrified and driving back to the West Side and just hearing carnage all around me, just hearing like people shouting, and it was a full-blown riot. And my imagination, obviously, like that shit looked like Apocalypse Now to me, like in my head. I don't know really what it was looking like, but I could see the flames and I could see the smoke from the riots from my crib for a while. You know what I mean? And, like, the direct effects of the city, and like them riots really tore an asshole through LA. It took a good 15 years plus to fully recover from.
And you being someone who's so into hip hop from day one, what was that like with the racial divide? Because it's not like the riots ended and everything was all fine and dandy. There was still racial tension, and it's hip hop is a black culture, and you being a white person you weren't Lush One at that time, but still a fan of it. There's still a certain way you wanted to dress, still a certain music you wanted to rock, right? Was there do you have to move a certain way even as a 10, 11, 12-year-old and think about those things?
It's crazy because LA is one of the most diverse cities in the world, but at the time, it still is to this day kind of like this, but much more so intermingled. But it's a very segregated city, like the east side of town is predominantly Latino. South Central LA is predominantly black. West LA is predominantly white. It's so specific, it's a gang town, and these little things, redlining, gentrification, all that, these different things keep the city really separated to the point where, you got Koreatown, you got Thai Town, you got Little Tokyo, you got, it's not even just divided by race. Like each really specific ethnicity has their own neighborhoods. Little Armenia, like it's crazy the extent that you see the division. So you have all these different cultures there, but they're kind of in their own areas. And most people won't even venture outside of their zones like that. Like you didn't really see too many white people venturing into East Los or South Central LA. I was one of the people, because of my love for hip hop, I kind of transcended those boundaries and went to places that I normally didn't go. And I feel like I'm somewhat of a unicorn, because I always felt more accepted by other cultures than my own. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like being a white boy, and I think part of that's because like I come from mixed religious backgrounds, you know what I mean? Like grew up in an area where I was kind of different, being that there's mainly Jewish people around me. I wasn't Jewish, you know what I mean? So it was kind of weird, and I kind of felt out of place and not accepted by a lot of people. And I always got love from the black homies and the Mexican homies, and always felt more accepted by them. And when I transcended those legitimate, like, you know, territorial and racial boundaries, I didn't have the element of fear in me. And there was no fear in my heart. It was a genuine curiosity and love. And it wasn't as an outsider. It was someone that was just had hip hop in my heart and soul, not to sound corny. So when I went into these other areas, it wasn't like, oh, I shouldn't be here. And I never felt out of place. And yeah, I got tested. And when I proved my worth lyrically by displaying my talent, it was really easy for me to break those boundaries down. I never really felt like I was out of place. You know, like it got to the point where I was damn near confused on what the hell I was for a while, to the point, like, you know, before there was FUBU, there was other clothing brands that were only worn by black folks. Like there's Mecca USA. I don't know if you remember that brand.
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was big.
I remember Mecca
in the early '90s. Like,
yep.
And I had LL Cool J's jacket, his blue and yellow jacket, Mecca USA, from the Hey Lover video. I saw that jacket. It was fire. I needed that. You feel me? My parents wouldn't get me clothes like that. They would only get me shit from the Gap or whatever. So that kind of jump-started my entrepreneurial mind state at a young age, hustling, stealing, whoop to get, you know, racking gear and all that shit. That was a big thing for me, and that was a big part of hip-hop culture, was like the physical expression, like the clothes and all that. So, and I remember wearing that jacket and getting pressed over it. Like, you're not supposed to be wearing that, and getting into physical altercations because of the way I dressed and shit like that. But at the end of the day, like, it was me through and through from day one.
Huh. Now, you mentioned, you know, the segregation, whether it be gang, race, whatever it may be. Battle rap, especially in the Wild Wild West, sorry for the shitty pun, but the Wild Wild West days of battle rap, you know, going from territory to territory, saying things that are, you know, the rudest possible things you could say about another man to his face. How dangerous was that at that time? Did people really, did people almost have to get a pass to go into another place and battle a guy and, you know, make sure he's not going to get jumped, stabbed, shot, whatever, for saying some disrespectful shit in the wrong neighborhood?
So LA, gang culture and gangster rap culture has always been the biggest thing as far as the streets of LA, but like conscious hip hop lives there too. And you wouldn't necessarily know that unless you actually ventured deep into those sections. And there was like little havens which really championed that aspect of the culture, like in LA, like, you know, the Good Life Cafe, Project Blowed. I was going to the Blowed from a young age as an observer and just, you know, kind of adjacent participant in the culture since the golden era. And, you know, in places like that, you have a bunch of people that, whether they're in gangs or affiliate, you know, if you grew up in LA, it's 6 degrees of separation, but as far as gangs go, it's literally like 2 degrees of separation. You know, everybody, if you're not directly in a gang, you know somebody that is, and your neighborhood has a gang that's in that territory, and that's just the way LA is broken down. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And,
so sorry, go ahead.
So no, my bad. So when you go, like, in those environments, you have people that are in the throes of gang life and they're trying to escape it. Like, people don't come to hip hop culture and battle rap if you're doing, like, you know, real lyrical hip hop shit. Because, like, if you're just gang banging, that's one thing. But like, if you're trying to push the line for gangster rap, you're not going to open mics and shit like that. You know what I mean? You're on the corner banging on fools. Like, it's different. So the people, even if you're a gangbanger and you're doing like traditional hip hop MCing and shit, you're not going to those environments to press that line. So although some of your homies might be there and the energy is still there, like, it gets broken down because you're trying to escape the everyday realities of gangster life. So, you know, like, you go there, and it's the point of battling has never been to disrespect your opponent. It's who can rap better. And yeah, does that entail dissing your opponent and being disrespectful? Yes, oftentimes it does, but it's not mutually exclusive. So when people would get into it back and forth, whoopty whoopty whoop, yeah, that's a whole part of the thing. But it's for the purpose of lyrical supremacy and dominance, and whoever comes off doper, that's what it is. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that I never saw that lead to physical altercations, because yeah, it's definitely gone down and shit like that. But, you know, I've seen battles, like, I've been in environments where it's predominantly Crips, let's say, and then like a crew of Bloods will roll up and be on some battle rap shit. And like, that's just how it stays. And those fools, even if you're from a rival hood, this or that, you get a pass because that's what the environment is. You know, nowadays it might not be as accepted like that. And shit might pop off. But then again, like, the politics of LA are so weird. Like, people think that all Crips are cool with each other and all Bloods, like, they don't get along with, but that's not the case. Like, it's neighborhood to neighborhood. Like, there's certain Crip gangs that have rivalries with other Crip gangs, which goes back 20 plus years now, 30, 40 years, you know what I mean? That goes back to the early 80s type shit. And those hoods will never get along. But it's not just like, oh, you're wearing red, we're enemies. It's like you're into it with who you into it with. Like, certain hoods are enemies of certain hoods, and whether or not they're under the Crip or Blood banner, like, it's really complicated. Like, and you kind of have to know the landscape and the politics of the city to fully understand it.
Well, you said earlier there was a time when you felt almost like you didn't really know who you were, didn't really know like what your identity is, what your makeup is on your background, just because of coming from a different various religious background and whatnot. Now, what you're talking about now is a lot of ways for a young man to get pulled into, and you're traveling, through this hip hop from set to set, whatever you may call it. How often do you see it? Because obviously, you made it to a certain point where you didn't get a life sentence or get put in a coffin or anything, right? So how often have you seen people, say they're good rappers, good battlers, or maybe even they got something else going on, but because of that, there's so many little areas they can get pulled down, things go to shit for them, their life goes down the drain at a young age before they even get started. Is that a thing that is fairly common?
I got several homies that, I can't even name all my homies that are dead or doing football numbers in the penal system. Like, I get calls on the regular from I got homies that are, like I said, doing football numbers, doing life. You know what I mean? And a lot of them are some of the best rappers I've ever heard. That would literally, if you posted in the King of the Dot talkback group on Facebook a verse from one of these dudes, everyone would be like, "Oh my God, he needs to battle Loaded Lux." You know what I mean?
Holy
like
shit.
some of the dopest rappers I've ever seen before are people that nobody's ever heard of.
Shit. It's funny. I brought this up when Poison Pen was on. Being in combat sports for years,
he probably said the same shit.
I was telling him when I was covering combat sports, I used to look outside the box. I didn't just want just the fighters on. I like celebrity fans, people had other ththings going on, but we're also a fan. And Cormega, I'm sure you know who that is. He was a boxing champion when he was in Rikers. So I was like, there's my angle. Cormega he's my favorite rapper of all time, right? I just think he's fucking god on the mic.
Meg.
So Yeah, I mean,
I
he's
love
dope.
Queensbridge.
Mega told me you will never hear the best rapper alive because the best rapper alive, he can't put his shit together long enough to make it into a career. He's on the corner, he's doing something fucking up, or he's just doesn't have the drive. And he's like, you're never going to hear the best rapper alive. It's just impossible. So he's saying the same shit you're saying. You know, it's a damn shame
Yeah.
that as fans, right? You know, obviously, if somebody's your homie, that's a bigger shame. But speaking strictly as a hip hop fan, it is a damn shame thinking about, you know, the talent that we don't get to hear. Even the famous guys like the Tupacs and Biggies, they didn't have a ton of material, and that was wiped out from us.
Yeah, people forget. People don't realize because that Biggie Smalls was 24 years old when he died. He has such an OG aura about him. You know what I mean? And he was older than me when I first heard him, obviously. So like he was like the big homie and shit. But it's crazy that it was a 24-year-old kid. He's the same age as Saint. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, no shit. No shit.
It's a trip to think about. Yeah, like there's a dude I'm homies with named Dish Dash.
Okay.
From East Oakland. This dude freestyle. He could freestyle off the top of his dome complete songs front to back with somehow he would know after 16 bars this is where the chorus comes in, like, and he would have a chorus like that he made up on the spot, memorized. Like he was literally a fucking robot, and it was all pure fire. Punchlines, metaphors, similes, crazy flow patterns, like all of that. And he was like, and this dude was never professionally recorded a record that you can find on the internet ever. He was just too deep in the streets. Shouts to my homie Dish if he ever happens to hear this. My homie Norm Nizzle is, you know, that was one of the first dudes I used to record 4-track tapes with, and we would sell them on the block. Like he's, you know, he's been locked up for 13 years now, and you know, on murder 2 charge, and he actually comes home in a few years. And you know, I talked to him a few months back. He called me from the pen, and like shortly after I got out of treatment, I was chilling with my fiance in her hotel room, and all of a sudden I get a call. I recognize the area code. There's a specific area code for some reason. For some reason, all in America, all penitentiaries have the 713 area code, which is actually Houston, Texas. I don't know why all penitentiaries have that area code, but they do. Maybe not all, but a lot of them do. As soon as I saw that, I was like, this is someone from the damn pen hitting me up, and it was my partner Norm, and it was crazy to hear his voice. That dude, one of the best rappers or beat makers you'll ever be privy to. And like, it's just so crazy the way that works.
Wow. And on the, you know, I guess the positive side of that, who are some of the people that you linked up with early? And, you know, there's, whether it be battle rap or hip hop, and whether it be people like a Diz, someone like that, if people know that you're friends, or even guys that, you know, I know Corrupt had a run out in the West Coast. I think that was probably when you maybe a little bit older, or I could be completely wrong on the date, that the timeline of that. But, you know, just guys that you ran into, and they turned out to be something, whether you're still connected with them or not.
I mean, I'm still in one way or another connected to most of the people that I came up with. You know what I mean? Like I kept it funky with my sandbox homies, you know, and we still have a relationship. As far as like, there is definitely a lot of people that I was influenced by early that I wound up being cool with later in life, and that was super dope. Like most of the battle rappers and people within hip hop that y'all have heard of and shit like that, were like, we were kind of all doing our own thing independently of each other and wound up connecting several years later. But there's like people like AC Alone from Freestyle Fellas, and shit like that, who I was like a big fan of and used to see rhyming when I was a teenager and shit like that, who years later, you know, and like Lucky I Am from Mystic Journeyman, Living Legends and shit, I used to look up to, we wound up doing music together years later and shit like that. Mac Mall, you know, grew up looking up to, used to wound up connecting and doing music together years later. So there's a lot of cool shit like that happened, you know what I mean? I just recently did a record with Crooked Eye, you know, which was crazy. Kid Crooked, I got to do music with Sean Price, R.I.P., like shit like that, which was crazy. These are all dudes that I looked up to at a young age. Most of the people, when I was coming in the game, as an outsider, like inside the culture, but like I didn't have any industry connections. I didn't have anyone like pushing my line like, yo, this dude there's people that believed in me. You know what I'm saying? But like they weren't knocking down the door. I had to knock down my own doors. Like I have big homies and people that I call big bro, but in reality, like there was no big homie kicking the door down for me. And like I had to catch bodies on the mic, and I had to kill ciphers, and I had to make fire songs and stay consistent for people to recognize and notice me. Like, yeah, like what's crazy when you think about the whole Fresh Coast movement, like, Paz, Thesaurus, Ilmac, No Can, myself, like we've all been homies for 15, 16, 17 years now. So that's like, we have long-standing relationships. We've like well over a decade of rhyming together, being cool with each other, fucking with each other. So it's an honor and privilege to still be cool with all these folks. And but what really got me solidified is, I moved up to the Bay Area, to Oakland, California, and I linked up with my brothers Ajax and Plex Rock, and we formed Delmon Crew, Delinquent Monastery, and that was the first real rap group that I was in. There was little crews and little things that I was fucking with beforehand, and I had big homies on the block that I rhymed with back in LA, but that was when I really got solidified, and we started performing and doing shows, putting out independent releases, becoming known locally, and doing shows out of city, out of state, continued to grow, boom, boom, boom. And that's like, it was through doing that I linked up with all those other dudes that I mentioned, and it got bigger and bigger.
Okay. And most fans are under the impression that you and Diz were born on the same day and you guys started battle rap together. When did you link up with Diz? We did. You guys seeked out grind time direct in them, or like, we're gonna plant this layer and no, but
we were two little sperm cells that fucking hopped through the sewer waves and went up different ways and wound up, I don't know. That's definitely my brother. That's my A1 day one. Diz, when I was up in the Bay doing my thing, he was down in LA doing his. And he's like only a couple years younger than me, but we're like from the same class of MCs and all that shit. And Diz was a part of a movement called the West Coast Pit, actually. So like a lot of people know about the Project Glowed movement in LA. A lot of people know about, like, up in the Bay, we had this event called Tourette's Without Regrets. That's where, like, Paz, Thesaurus, myself, a bunch of us kind of were coming up. But what Diz was a part of, this thing called the West Coast Pit, was like a whole other movement. And it was it was super hood, but it was like, it's crazy when you look at the different rappers that came from that movement. It's like a who's who of the current landscape of LA hip hop. You had J Rock and Kendrick Lamar used to battle over there. Ty Dolla $ign, before he was, singing songs about smoking weed and making coochies wet coast to coast, he was battle rapping over there. You know what I'm saying? You had Kid Ink, before he was a little commercial rapper and shit, doing like Tyga type songs, was battle rapping over there. You know what I'm saying? Like Compton AV, not to mention, No Can Do was over there. Daylight was over there. Active was over there. Dizaster was over there. Shit. And so it was a crazy scene. Not to mention there's a bunch of other dudes that were equally lit that no one's ever heard of type shit that were just killing it. And Diz was like the champ of the West Coast Pit. I had like seen little clips of him rhyming and shit, but wasn't really familiar with him. But then in 2007, we were both trying out for the Jump Off World Rap Championships LA division. There's like something like 200 rappers came to Venice Beach, and we're doing like this little 2-on-2 tournament thing to see who could qualify for the LA division. And before we did the little qualifying rounds, everybody would spit a verse for the camera. And I remember it got to Dizaster. I kind of like, it was funny because him and I were like, we dressed in a similar outfit. Like we both had colorful hats on. I had like an A's hat on. He had a Dodgers hat on. And they were both like weird, like bright colors on it type shit. You know what I mean? And I remember looking at him. He was like the Bizarro World evil version of me type shit, you know? And I had like 3 gold teeth. You know what I'm saying? Never trust anybody. There's not a more dishonest look in the world than 1 gold tooth. So I had to hit him with. And I firmly believe that. But like, I had fangs, and they had like, you know, canary yellow diamonds and emeralds in it. They were lit. I missed my grill. And then like I remember when it came to Dizaster's turn to spit his verse, like, you know, I was like, yo, this dude is fucking hard. Like, he had some shit. I remember he said, like, even if you was the Carl's Jr. sign, you wouldn't be a big star. Like, he was saying crazy shit, but it was super hard. Like, his delivery was super aggressive and fine-tuned, and it, like, technically was really advanced. And I was like, you know, I don't have a problem with battling anybody that's here right now, but I hope I don't have to battle this fool, because there's something about him that's kind of scary, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, like 15, 20 minutes later, he winds up calling me out. He's like, I want to battle you. And he like points at me. I'm like, oh, great. You feel me? Like, then we wind up battling. Like, it was a 2-on-2, me and my homie versus him and his homie. And like, I had a bunch of my people with me. He had his people. Everybody's turning up, getting ready to fucking fight each other. Like, who knows how many guns were on all of our friends between the two. You know what I mean? Between the two groups of people, there's probably like enough pistols to control the damn crowd at the LA riots. You feel me? Like, so, but it wound up being a cool little battle. But and afterwards, it was mutual respect, and we were kind of homies ever since then.
Yeah, and I guess you guys probably would work well together. Like you said, he's your evil twin almost. So linking up with him from, you know, early days and working together, and even to, well, you know, Saint on Saturday, you know, that was off camera. It looked like a slap what leaked out there, but it's been explained afterwards. It wasn't all that, but you know, Dizaster, he could snap at any fucking moment. So from day one, were you like, okay, I'm gonna have to fucking prevent this guy from certain things, or at least talk him off the ledge every now and then? Is that something you knew from day one?
I mean, like, I kind of learned it over time. The show, like, it was weird because like he's always had that like erratic, chaotic energy, like, you know, like he's like watching nitroglycerin. He can fucking, you set him off and he'll explode at any time. But
yeah.
I never felt that energy directed towards me.
Yeah.
He's never physically, like, you know, he said crazy shit to me and been very disrespectful over the years and shit like that, but never like projected his physical, like he's never made me feel like he wanted to fight me or anything like that. You know what I mean? So it's kind of weird. Like, it's like being friends with Dizaster is like having a pet pit bull that, you know, bites people, but like,
dude, that is the best way I've ever heard anybody put that.
That's like, it's so weird. Like, it's like, he's the sweetest dog ever. What do you mean? I sleep next to him. You know what I mean? But like, but he fucking needs to wear a muzzle due to an ordinance by the state of California because he's bitten 7 toddlers. Like, yeah, like that's what it feels like being friends with Dizaster. It was crazy though, because like after that moment where we first met, we were cool, but we weren't like best friends immediately. We were still both you know, I wound up qualifying for the LA division of the 2007 World Rap Championships. He wound up qualifying in New York. So like we would like talk every once in a while and see each other, but it wasn't like, you know, we didn't really deal with each other that much throughout the course of the next year. But then in 2008, Grind Time started getting popping. I did my first battle over there. And apparently he wanted to battle me.
Oh.
Because I did my battle. And it was like, I was getting a lot of love for it. Had a lot of buzz on World Star Hip Hop, all this shit. And I was like, he was kind of like, I didn't know. This is unbeknownst to me because Diz apparently had moved back to Lebanon. So he's doing whatever the hell they be doing over there in Lebanon. I don't know, fucking dodging missiles and shit. And this fool fucking, and this fool was plotting on battling me. But I only did that one battle in grind time and then was doing the organization and getting the West Coast division set off, and that started to get really popular really quick. And then our second event, I was like, okay, well, Thesaurus just battled Madness. Thesaurus is the top dog in the league. Who do we have in battle next? And me and Direct were talking about it. Shout out to my partner Direct. And he was like, well, we were like, what about Dizaster? We kind of came up with it together. And then I got Dizaster's phone number, called him in Lebanon, fucking 37-digit phone number and shit. You feel me? Like, called that fool, and I was like, what's up, fool? Are you down to battle Thesaurus? And I didn't realize that I dodged a huge bullet because he was probably like in the middle of a fucking barren landmine riddled field concocting schemes against me, and then decided to direct that energy towards Thesaurus instead. So then when in the ensuing weeks and months leading up to that battle, we started talking a lot, and he literally has called me since we've been on the phone right now. He called me like 10 minutes ago. So that conversation has not ended in 12 years.
Working with Grind Time, that was fucking magic. I mean, for me and for a lot of battle rap fans, there are so many classic battles that I watch to this day from the Grind Time era. When you went there to battle, but then started working staff or whatever you want to call it. I talked to Direct about this too. You go into that, there's no blueprint. There's still not a blueprint. There's no college course you can take. There's no Everest you can fucking go to. None of that shit. So was it like one of those ignorance is bliss things? Did you have an end goal? Or were you like, you know what? I like this shit. There's something here. I'm going to see what I can do with it.
It was just about expanding the culture. We didn't have an idea what the end game was. It was just about making it bigger than what it was right now. That's always what it was from my perspective. I commend Direct. He had so much foresight for even knowing that a YouTube league was going to be next. In fact, when he first brought the idea to me, I thought it was corny. And I was like, this ain't going to work. And I saw the first couple battles they were uploading. I was like, this shit's kind of weak. You feel me? But no disrespect to the rappers that were in it. It just, it just wasn't motivating me at that point. But then when they did Mosh Gelton versus Johnny Storm, and they hit World Star Hip Hop, which was kind of in its infancy at that point, but was still like one of the original viral hip hop sites, way before it was synonymous for, baby mamas scrapping with shovels or whatever the fuck be going on that website. You feel me? In its early day when it was actually a hip hop based site, that right there, it popped up on that site and it got 40,000 views in one night, which nowadays ain't shit, right? There's videos of a shrimp running on a treadmill that gets that many views in 15 minutes, right? But at the time, it was huge, and I was like, oh, okay, well, these fools are tight. I fuck with this, but I know what me and my homies do in the West is as good, if not better than this. So let's get it. Let me fucking do this shit out here. And I pretty much, Direct and I had been cool because he was in the WRCs as well in the Atlanta division, and we kind of so we had a rapport. So it was easy for me to get situated. So that's why I did my one battle to kind of, because none of my other homies really had the foresight. They didn't really think that it was going to be a worthwhile endeavor until they saw me do it and they saw the props that I was getting from it. They're like, shit, if the homie could do it, we could do it too. And, they trusted me as an organizer, putting it together, curating the functions, the whole shindigs. And it wound up being really, really successful and dope. And like, like you said, there wasn't, there's three of us running that company. Wasn't a college degree between the three of us at the time. Like I cheated my way through motherfucking high school. You know what I mean? Like I barely graduated high school. I like, and my only education was like a street education essentially. And so I didn't really have strong business acumen besides selling drugs and shit like that. So I didn't even know really what I was doing, but we just knew that I just knew how to expand shit and make it bigger. And that's what I was doing. Cause a lot of that came from the fact that, the rap group I was talking about earlier, Delmont Crew, when we were getting popping, when the prominent local acts weren't trying to book us and put us on, and the venues weren't trying to have us be the openers for the big headliners, we were like, fuck it, let's throw our own shows. And that's kind of how we started building. And people, once we did that, people would come to the shows. They liked our music, and it would expand from there. So I knew how to build from a grassroots independent level. I attribute a lot of that by living in the Bay Area. And for those that don't know, Oakland, California, the Bay Area, is a mecca of independent music for the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
So that grassroots DIY independent hustle, that goes back to, the punk rock era and shit like that. That goes back generations, way before hip hop was a thing. People were like, if you couldn't get it if your music was deemed by the industry to not be marketable to the masses, but you still had the passion and knew that there was talent in the audience for you, but you weren't coloring within the lines of what was deemed commercially accessible. The Bay Area's always had an open ear to that, like those eccentric, unique sounds that you can't really define within a specific style or genre or whatever you want to call it. So being in that environment, that taught me that it's okay to be myself, and as long, if you build it, they will come. Feel the dreams. That's essentially what we did.
And when you were scouting, so to speak, with Grind Time, or maybe it was even before that, when you first started coming across what was going on up here, actually this would have been a little before that. I know Bishop would have been, but the Bishops, the Organics, I guess Nameless was in the WRCs up here, Kid Twist. Coming across those guys, who were some of the first Canadians that caught your eye? And also after this, be honest, as LA, your crew, when you guys are looking at the Organics and this and that before you knew them, what were your initial thoughts?
Well, Organik was my homie for like a long ass time. Like Organik and I were two of the original people that were posting on rapmusic.com, which was originally called mcbattles.com, which was like literally that was the epicenter of battle rap culture right there. So like before it was this huge self-sustaining, self-perpetuating scene, there was probably like a fan base of like, and I don't mean just casual observers and people that would happen upon it or see a battle now and then, but like actual fans who had the names of the specific rappers in their lexicons and things like that. There's maybe 1,000 or 2,000 people in the entire world that were really tuned in and watching battle rap.
Wow.
And Organik and myself were two of them, and we were also two of the first battle rappers up there that had footage of our own. So, I saw Organik battling from the time he was 16. I've known him for that long. You know what I mean?
Shit.
Like in the early 2000s, way before. That's how come Organik and I have always been hella cool, and he's one of my best homies, because no matter what happens in the game, we have a relationship that predates all this shit. You feel me? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if I've known him, maybe not gully, but like a lot of these other fools, I've probably known Organik longer than he's known 95% of the people he knows in battle rap. And we were always cool. We had a mutual respect. I thought he was dope. That was my first impression of him, and I really we loved, all of us in LA and shit, we loved Kid Twist.
Oh yeah?
Like we thought he was fucking hilarious, and we fucked with, he was the first one that besides Organik, really Kid Twist was we're yo, we love this fucking kid. And I think because he he wasn't trying to be tough. He was just super funny, and he was being himself. He reminded us of like he could have been one of us damn near the way he rapped and shit. He was super funny, and we were drawn to. Yeah, definitely. We all were on the Kid Twist type, especially it was before WRCs we started fucking with him when his footage had leaked to rapmusic.com, but then shortly thereafter when he was at because it's like, yo, I remember meeting a couple other fools from Canada like at Scribble Jam, and they were kind of whack, to be honest with you.
But do you remember their names, or do you just not want to say them?
I mean, I don't want to be mean. You feel
okay,
me?
that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, the old me would have said it.
I mean, I want you to say them, but go ahead.
He can text you off air. We're not here shitting on people.
They're not even, as far as I know, they're definitely not active in the battle rap circuit, and they've moved on. One of them was fucking hella. He just smelled bad and was trying to sleep on people's floors at the motel, and he was fucking dirty ass hippie fool, and he was alright, but he was kind of whack. And then there's this other fool that like tried to like, anyways, but so it wasn't even like there wasn't like they didn't put like a bad taste in our mouth, because like we already knew that there was dope rappers in Canada. I mean, like, fools had heard of Swollen Members and the Rascals and shit. Those fools from Vancouver, and you know what I mean.
Oh, the Rascals. Now you're pulling out old names.
Motherfuckers knew about fucking Cardinal Official and Charles Flair and Maestro Fresh West. Let your backbone slide.
Backbone slide.
Yeah. So I knew about like that there was dope rappers in Canada. Like it just like I said, like I said this earlier in the interview, like hip hop is a window into different neighborhoods and styles. Like if it wasn't for hip hop, I would have never known about like the huge Jamaican influence in Toronto. That was like, and that was literally from hearing Informers, Snow and shit. Like I didn't know I didn't even know. I don't even think I knew that there was like that many black people in Canada before like I put two and two together from that shit. And now like it's completely different. And there's so many dope rappers all through like the Toronto hip hop scene is ridiculous. And actually it's super grimy, and there's a lot of fucking gangster rap of their drill music in Toronto is huge right now. Like a lot of people aren't even up on that. But Organik was always dope to me. Kid Twist was always dope. And like I said, like I respected them because they were kind of they had that, even though they were from all the way over there, they had the Bay Area do-it-yourself mentality as well. And I think one of the reasons I was able to incorporate that mentality plus my LA cutthroat, not giving a fuck attitude, and combine that, and that was like my recipe for success right there. But yeah, the Canadians were in the mix from day one.
So when being so familiar with Organik, when Organik versus Dizaster went down, did you have anything to do with facilitating that and putting that together? And what were your thoughts?
I booked all them battles. I booked all of them battles back then. Every single one of them. Like every single battle you would see me host during that era, I booked all of them myself.
Holy
alone.
Shit.
Maybe direct I would fuck with, you feel me? And like that's like the only like direct me, like a little bit PH and Poison Pen, like with certain fools from out of state and shit. Like and my boy Fox from the jungle.
Oh yeah. I remember him.
Like, those are the only people that I even consulted with booking matches. I was doing that shit myself. And like Organik versus Dizaster, they like were getting into back and forth online. There was, West Coast versus Canada, little rivalry popping up, King of the Dock grind time, and Organik and I were homies the whole fucking time. So it was easy to make that happen.
Yeah. What about those two? Did they want to do it? I mean, obviously you said they were talking shit back and forth, but as far as getting the battle to happen, setting a date, getting them to agree to whatever the terms were, length of rounds, whatever it may have been, was there any difficulty there, or were they both just like, fuck yeah, let's get it done?
Dude, there's way less politics back then. It was just like, if you weren't going to step to somebody or talk shit unless you were down to battle them. Like now it's like, you have to be on my level, and if we have to get this amount of money, I don't think those fools didn't get paid to do that battle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm pretty sure Organik threw himself out from Canada. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there was none of this like preconceived weird like things that there was no prerequisites. It was just, oh, they're talking shit. They're both popping right now. People were pushing for it. They wanted to see it. The battles kind of set themselves up almost. I was able to go on that rapmusic.com website and like start like a new thread and be like, okay, like I'm throwing an event on this date. Who's interested in battling? And I could low key just publicly book battles.
Holy shit. Yeah, that's like
It was crazy.
all the events I've been to live have been KOTD in Toronto. And like those blackouts back in the day, there would be 2 or sometimes even 3-day events. And, you know, it would be just an A-list lineup with like 20 or 30 battlers on the thing. And nowadays, to pull that off, I would assume that the price tag would be so much higher back then. Blackout, 2 or 4 or 5 or whatever the hell. Is that correct?
Yeah. I think I don't even know what blackout we're on now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's crazy when you look back at that. Well, a lot of it too. I mean, it's not like they were all grind time guys, but a lot of them were, well, I was familiar with them from grind time. So they were already like, stars in my mind, so to speak. And so when I would go to an event, a 2-day event in Toronto, and it's got friggin' everyone on it, SoulCon, Pat Stay, Head Ice, this, that, like, it's a laundry list of stars. There's Town Business 2 is the closest thing I can think to that's happened in recent memory.
Yeah, it's Town Business. Well, Town Business is an extension of the Battle of the Bay event series, and which I started in 2008, and that was kind of like the concept. Like by the time we were at Battle of the Bay 3, there were 2-day events. You know what I mean? As star-studded as possible. And Organik and Dizaster was actually at Battle of the Bay 5. At that same event, we had Pass versus Hollow the Dawn, Averb versus Marv 1. We had it was the card was insane, and they were all, barely anybody getting. Like I booked fucking Averb for a flight of $300, which is
Christ.
like compared like. This dude's getting 10 racks to battle now, 15 racks to battle, $300 fucking dollars. We had Arsenal versus Conceited was on that card. Conceited didn't even get paid.
Wow. That's insane to think about. That is insane. And it's cool to think about because now it's actually something you can make a living doing. Maybe not necessarily, but you can make it a stream of income or source of income and parlay it into other opportunities in life, like we've seen so many of these guys do over the years. Conceited, he made a fucking boatload of money off Wildin' Out, right? And it's all he started, not started right where the battle you're talking about, but back in that day of not even getting paid to battle.
Actually, that was his first big battle ever.
Yeah,
he had done two battles before that. We had been him versus RIP Tall T. And he had one other battle before that. That was his third battle ever, was versus Arsenal.
Knowing Organik for so long, when did you first start hearing about the King of the Dot, the gears in his head moving to start King of the Dot? Was it long before inception, or was everyone kind of kept in the dark, even people close to him like you?
Nah, well, King of the Dot and Grind Time, I think we had our first events, if not the same day, it was like the same week. There was some crazy random shit like that. And she was King of the Dot was originally going to be like a freestyle series. There's some shit called like Proud to Be A.
Yeah, I remember that.
MC.
Yeah, I remember
that.
Was
so that was like what was going on, and like him and I weren't heavily talking at that time, but we were kind of both moving. We were all like keeping an eye on each other and loosely inspired by what one another were doing. And, as Grind Time picked up right around the same time KOTD did. And it was, they were doing events outside and, Dundas Square, whatever it's called. Right. And we were doing shit in Mosswood Park in Oakland. And it was literally like damn near simultaneous trajectories. And so like I don't know when the exact moment it dawned on him. Hey, I think a big influence for both of us, honestly, was another Canadian league called the Elements League over in Nova Scotia. And I remember watching Pat Stay and those dudes battling in a fucking classroom, or like it was like an empty wrestling mat or whatever, a wrestling ring and shit. I remember seeing them dudes battle, like Pat Stay versus Miracle. Pat Stay versus Jesse Ito was the first one I saw, I think. And Pat was obviously incredible. But just the fact that they had like a structured league with wins and losses and shit, I think that's definitely, I'm pretty sure Direct already told you that's what sparked his train of inspiration to start Grind Time.
Yeah, it was funny. He was telling us one of the episodes we had him on, and as he's going on and on, Amy and I at the same time were like, the Pat Stay Holohan battle, and Direct's like, yeah. He's like, Pat wasn't talking shit. That's actually a thing that happened. Direct was actually inspired from the Elements League. That's pretty crazy. So,
Fendi fact.
Yeah, Fendi fact. Industry rappers, we got them at least pretending they're interested. Some of them are interested. I partially blame you for this because the first big one I can think of is Cassidy versus Diz. I know you had a lot to do with that E3 event. What are your thoughts on it? And not necessarily Cassidy jumping over. I just mean the industry guys getting into it. Is it? Do you think they're set up for failure? Because I think they kind of are. It's just what they do on a regular basis, in my opinion, is not. You're not going to get a Hollow to Dom type of caliber performance out of a guy who spends most of his time in his career focusing on a completely different format of hip hop. What's your opinion on industry guys jumping in?
Well, first of all, if you're going to mention the industry dudes battling, you'd be remiss to not at least give a slight mention to the Cannabis versus Dizaster battle, because that was really the first big one.
Yes, I forgot about Cannabis. That was awesome, though. Dizaster cooked him.
Which you could also blame me for as well, because I was one of the people that brought that.
It's all Lush's fault.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, I agree with you. I mean, like if you practice karate all year, when someone's doing Krav Maga and you step in the ring, if you're in for a rude awakening, and that's kind of, I think that it's not impossible, and I think that I do not believe that there's an increase of overall skill level in the battle rappers. They're not like a battle rapper. The best battle rapper is not a better lyricist than Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole and shit. Like, you're not a better songwriter. You're not able to do what these guys do, just like they're not able to do what we do. I think that the disconnect is that they're not focused on the certain specific attributes that it takes to be successful within the context of battle rap. And if they actually did and trained properly and really got it in and were able to reduce their ego and see what it took and take some take some sparring matches and really build themselves up, they would be able to do it. We just haven't seen it go down yet.
One guy that he's brought up a lot, and he's someone that I actually would like to see as time goes on. I expect it less and less. Lloyd Banks. He's someone who I think that could possibly do well with the right opponent. Krill and I, too bad he's not here tonight, because him and I have been arguing about this for years. Krill thinks that not Banks is going to come in and smoke people, but he thinks Banks is going to make a real impact. I have a tough time believing that. When we had Nameless on, Nameless said, I'll tell you what right now, I will fucking cook Lloyd Banks for $5,000 USD. And we all laughed and everything. So you can either elaborate on that, or who would you put your money on going into that? Who are you betting on, Nameless or Lloyd
I don't
Banks?
think Banks is a bad choice. Banks is definitely would be one of the 5 to 10 names I would mention. Someone who I think would I actually always have a name that I always go to in this conversation, and it's something that a lot of people don't think of. It's not far off from Lloyd Banks, to be honest, but I feel like based on his overall lyrical proficiency, but ability to do diss tracks and confrontation, imposing physical prowess, when you combine all these elements, if he actually did the proper training within the context of battle rap, I think the game would be a huge problem.
That's someone who I've said before too. I wish Krill was here tonight. Krill doesn't think the game would be that great. I didn't say the game would be the best ever, but he's another one that I've brought up as well. Especially because
it would be a problem. He would be a serious problem.
Some of the shit that he used to spit when he's putting out all those mixtapes with the GU Not stuff and trying to take out 50 in them, there was battle rap bars in that shit. Like there was personal stuff. There was funny stuff.
His diss track against Meek Mill from a few years ago, he was spazzing. Like, you know, like the game would be a problem. Obviously, I feel like, you know, like if he wanted to, and he's done it before, Conway would be a big problem. You know, Royce could be a big problem.
Yeah,
like,
Royce for damn sure.
I would not underestimate those dudes in that format whatsoever. They're fucking monsters.
Certainly. So you never answered though. Who you put your money on, Nameless or Lloyd Banks?
Right. Honestly, like because I don't think that Lloyd Banks would properly reduce his ego to go through the necessary training it would take. Yeah. I'd probably bet on Nameless.
Yeah, I think you'd have to. Plus, there's so much for Nameless to choose from to go at him with. There's, you know, so much ammo to load up. Where
Nameless is fire too. But the other thing about him is he's one of those dudes that when he I feel like he would lose a little bit of steam when he battled too much. And he would get kind of like his inspiration would get stretched. But I'm sure he ain't been in the ring in a fat minute. He probably sitting like he's probably on the low, would love to fucking tear someone's head off. So you would get a whole bunch of fucking aggression and shit. But if Lloyd Banks was in his full bag, I don't know, like Nameless would have a hard time with that, to be honest. Like on paper, it sounds so funny to say, but I feel him like my money, if my actual, you know, the food going in my family's belly is determined by the bet, I'm leaning towards Nameless.
So were you, to skip over to some Grand Prix stuff for a minute, are you like indifferent to the judges? Do you have opinions on that? Or were you like stoked to see him as a judge finally for this Grand Prix?
Oh, no, I was juiced. I think he's someone that I've been pushing for to be involved as a judge. And, you know, all of us as a staff, we all have been curating the judges together. And it's difficult when there's so many different things that pop up in politics and different things that make it difficult to solidify a worthy judging panel that is beyond reproach and, you know, held in high regard, like a reputable to the fans. But like Nameless has been, as far as King of the Dot especially, he's been one of the most respectable judges from day one. So I think that it was dope to see him in the mix.
After the
I do get concerned when politics plays into the mix, and I think that a lot of people, especially in Canada, aren't really, since, you know, in Canada there's not the same stigmas attached to people's political belief system, and people are like way more, which I love, by the way. People are way chiller about it, but in America it's super divisive, and I feel like Diz being really outspoken about politics affected people's perspective on him. And I'm not saying that Nameless was, but I do know that him and Nameless have gone back and forth about politics several times. And I'm not saying that I believe that Nameless himself is a integrous enough person to look beyond that and judge based on the content of lyricism and all that. But overall, I feel like there is like a whole black cloud that followed Dizaster throughout the tournament, that from the initial battle with Frack, and that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, that after that initial battle with Frack, it's like fans wanted fucking blood. They were after, oh, Diz is set up to win this. Organik did this from the fucking start. KOTD wants Diz versus Sharon. That's why they're doing this. It like everyone was catching hate online. Did anything come at you being the captain of the West?
There's a few little tweets and shit. It wasn't too crazy.
Bullshit,
yeah. Bruh, like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, Frack's my homeboy. We have multiple records together and shit. We had just been on a song together that came out like a month before the tournament. So it's like, it obviously, like, I mean, Diz is my man's, Frack's my man's too. Like, I didn't have a horse in that race, and I've came up seeing my homies battle each other since I was fucking in my early 20s. So it's not really like, I I just want to see the best MC. I want our soil to be represented to the best of its ability. And like, the thing is this, like in the moment being there, I didn't realize that, like, I thought it was close and it could have gone either way. But, because Dizaster's presence is so commanding and strong, like, I didn't realize how it looked on camera. Like, when I looked at it on camera afterwards, I was like, yeah, Frack was low-key getting at that boy, you know? But in the moment, it didn't feel like that.
Yeah, that's what Avocado said the same thing to us. He's like, it's just different when you're standing in a room, especially a small room, no crowd, and Diz is letting off. Yeah, it's a different kind of energy. It's a different thing to judge live like that as opposed to on camera.
And like coming from the school of battle rap that I come from, like, you know, seeing that shit since the fucking lunchroom era, there was no cameras. So that's all you had. Like, you'd be lucky to catch any footage of 10 seconds of a battle, much less a whole thing to be able to critique it bar for bar and all that and like analyze the certain nuances. Like, that wasn't like, all you had before is the ability to capture the moment. And in the moment, to me, like, Dizaster did that, like, pretty fucking decisively. I mean, Frack had a huge moment with the ripping of the paper as well. So it's like, yeah, like and when you look back, it looks a lot fucking different. But I'm not, I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that it was the first event, the whole judging panel and situation wasn't solidified yet. You had judges being like, oh, could we, it's a tie, or, you know what I mean, doing weird goofy shit, because they like, and that kind of threw off and soured the whole thing. What's crazy is if you look before that Diz versus Frack battle, people were online posting, wow, this is the best judging panel, I love these judges, this is so fire, like, great choice on the judges. And it just, you know, on the drop of a dime, a complete reverse 180. It was like a Michael Jackson spin move, and fucking all of a sudden everyone was. And you know, I've been on the receiving end of the witch hunt of battle rap several times, and had angry mobs on Twitter on my helmet so much that like the little response was light. And I think the way that I carry myself now, being sober, the way that I move, like, I'm a man of integrity, vigorous honesty. So I didn't get it as bad as other people might have in that moment.
Yeah, Organik took it on the chin too. He jumped out and he took responsibility for any of the mix-ups. You know, just even like you said, the way the one judge had a tie and then had to change it, and the judges weren't separate, they were now, and he blamed it. He took it on the chin and said it was miscommunication, confusion. Is there anything that you can speak on that? Any miscommunication between you guys? What you thought was expected, what he thought was expected, because he even admitted he just kind of was hands off, thinking, oh, it's going to go the way I think it's going to go, or I plan it to go. Can you speak on any of the miscommunication or confusion or anything?
Well, it's like, you know, you buy an ant farm, you get the little fucking plastic tube thing or whatever, you put the sand in it, you get the cylinder full of the ants, you introduce the ants to that environment, and then what happens is up to the ants, essentially, you know? There's only so much at that point. I mean, you could grab the whole thing and shake it. You know, you could fucking kill the ants. You could put anthrax in it.
Fucking ants.
Dude, honestly, like, this is why
like,
how is judging in battle rap, and how is the chaotic event? And Lush is like, well, if you had an ant farm, and you're completely fucking on point. It's my favorite thing.
Word, thank you. No, that's because that's what it's like. I mean, like, at a certain point, like, that's why he was hands off. You know, like all of us collectively, obviously him at the helm of the ship, put together an intricate judging system. We had judging scorecards. We had guidelines. We spoke to them all ad nauseum beforehand. We gave them the format, and then when the cameras were rolling, some of them decided to go rogue.
I see.
The ants were going in whatever direction they wanted.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to say that. I'm not even just saying they're the ants. The whole event is the ants. So I don't want this to be like some degrading thing.
No.
Also, those judges ants. No, fucking, but you know.
Yeah, that is. Do you find too that maybe some of the people involved near the beginning of this, or even any sort of bigger tournament or even league like a grind time you've been involved with, some people that want to be involved are like they're all gung ho at first, and then it's like, yo, this seems like fun, but they think that's what it is. It's just fun, and they realize, after a time or two, like, oh shit, and they they're not the right suit for it. Is that a thing too, where some people get involved and you lose a few after an event or two, or after day one of an event because they realize like, oh, we're not out here having a good time. This is actual work.
Well, I think that was way more of a thing back in the day. Like it looked, if you look at the old grind time and King of the Dot battles, it looked a lot more inviting and friendly. Everyone's smiling and laughing. And you still see that. People are still having fun. And I think that infectious energy is one of the things that draws people in and makes people want to be a part of shit, without a doubt. But it gets to a certain point where, yeah, and that's why we have our, satellite leagues. We have GZ. There's smaller local leagues as well where people can sharpen their teeth and see if this is right for them and if they have enough of a buzz. Because you're not going to have fun if you ain't ready to battle on King of the Dot and you step on that stage. You're going to get waxed.
Yeah, I'm not saying so much the battlers, but the people involved staff-wise, organizing.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Nah, for the staff, I mean, like, at this point, to even get involved in staff, you have to hang around quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like unofficial internships pop off. Like, you'll see someone, they'll be a fan, they'll be at the event, or it's like a friend of a friend that's coming around that is interested in it, and they'll kind of catch a glimpse of what it's like organizing these events and shit like that, and they'll get like a secondhand perspective, and then they'll, if they're down, because inevitably they're gonna witness some fuckery, because that tends to happen. They're gonna see if this is for them or not. But so to even be a part of the staff, you kind of have to hang around for damn near a year or two to even get down like that. It's like joining a gang type shit. You don't get put on the set right away, especially not now. But also, if there's people that get down with it, they're fucking with it, but they're not built for that controversy. They're not built for they want to be there when everyone's popping bottles, but they're not trying to sweep up the courts. And it don't work like that. You feel me? Like, you bleed with us, you cry with us, you eat with us. That's it. You feel me? You can't just be there for the triumphs and then fucking skate off when there's a tragedy. Like, and if you're not built for that lifestyle, you got no business being a part of our squad.
So
this ain't for everybody.
And obviously, like, you're very happy to be a part of this, and you love everything you're doing, right? So I also saw you mention, though, like, recently, not really like being here to host, but that you do it because people want you to, and that, big ups to the people that give you that many props, and that, that's so dope and everything. But that you're really an artist instead is basically what you said. So, like, what prompted you to just say that?
That's a good question. Because it ain't on me, it in me. You feel me? Let me slow that down. It ain't on me, it in me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I am not immersed in the culture. The culture is immersed in me. Just in case there's ever any confusion about that. Like, I just wanted to put it out there for the masses, just to remind them one time, like, look, like I am not a battle rap host. I host rap battles. A lot of people will say that, I don't know, maybe I'm the best person of all time to ever do that shit. That's not me that says that. That's what you guys say. You tell me who the greatest host of rap battles of all time is. Like, I don't want to be a dick, and I hate being arrogant. It's a character defect of mine. But be honest with me. Am I the greatest battle rap host of all time? Definitely. Okay, I'll take it. Definitely. Thank you. I'll take it. But that's not what I'm an MC. You know what I mean? Like, I'm an MC, and that just happens to be a part of what I do. See, anybody can host a rap battle. anybody look at it like this. If a battle is a song, a battle is like a hip hop track. The host is the beat. The host sets the tone, sets the vibe, is the gauge for people's reactions, whether it's the crowd that are novice viewers or hardcore fans in the room. We set the tone. We're like the voice in the NBA Jam video game. He's heating up. He's on fire. You know what I mean? We're setting the tone. We're setting the atmosphere. Now, obviously, we're not the most important part of it. The rappers are the most important part, hands down. They're equivalent to the MCs on a track. You know what I mean? That's who you're listening to. That's who you're quoting. But if it's not for that beat, which is like the stage, the atmosphere, everything that is presented, you could say that like Avocado and what he does, and the directors and the video crew and all that, they are equivalent to the engineers. Like that determines the sound quality, the overall listening experience. You know what I mean? The sonic template and all that. But for me, like, I'm the host, so I got to set the vibe. Anybody can host a rap battle, right? You could host a rap battle. Hey, what's up? This is me. This is the battle that I'm hosting. This is this battler. This is that battler. Sponsored by this guy. Round one, it's on you. Anybody could do that, right? Mm-hmm. But all you have to do is hit those specific key points, and you can say it however you want to say it. You know what I mean? There's 6,000,001 ways. 6 million ways to die, choose one. 6 million ways to express yourself and host a battle. You know what I mean? Why does everybody do it the fucking same? Why is everybody boring? It's a 20-minute video on YouTube where only 16 are watchable because people fast forward through that shit. Mm-hmm. No one gives a fuck. No one gives a fuck. Why not maximize the viewing experience and create an overall energy where if you hear a Lush One intro, you know what level you have to bring it, not just as a rapper, but as the fucking crowd, as everyone that's a part of this. You have to feel the gravity of the moment, and that's going to inspire the rappers to come even better. You know what I mean? Knowing that they got someone that's thorough there. So it's like this. If I'm eating an enchilada, if I'm eating some fucking, shrimp yellow curry, some oxtail, whatever, I'm going to do that the way I eat it, and I'm going to do it in a creative way that nobody else does because I'm an artist. So when I host a battle, it's the same energy. So that's kind of what I meant by that statement. It's like, you know what I mean? Like I just happen to do this. This isn't my ambition. It was an accident for me to get the recognition I did as a host. It was just another aspect of my artistry, being an MC, being a participant in hip-hop culture, and that's just how it manifested.
So wait a minute. Like, let's be very clear, right? Like, this Grand Prix is not the same Grand Prix without Lush hosting, and many events before it, right? And I'm not saying otherwise. I guess to make my question a little more succinct, unless I missed something, that seemed like a really random thing for you to say. Like, I understand why you say it, and I'm with that. I'm rocking with you right now. But I'm just curious where it came from. Like, did that just strike you, and you were like, let me just say this shit?
Yeah.
I feel that. No, like that's how I operate. So that's why I was like, this dude's just that's just real time narrative is what's happening right now.
Yeah, it's
Go ahead.
No, you go, Lush. You go. You're the guest.
I'll put my feet on the couch real quick.
Yeah.
Fuck
Don't
your
even
couch.
take your shoes
I'm
off.
just playing.
Fuck your couch.
All right. Rick James. Like really being an artist and constantly using battle rap as an avenue to promote my music, which I'm grateful that I have because there's so many talented artists. Like we said in the beginning of this conversation, some of the best rappers in the world we've never even heard of. You know what I mean? So to be able to have this vehicle to help bring more awareness to what I do, I'm eternally grateful. But sometimes the battle rap is so ubiquitous. It's so it's everywhere in my life, and people. It's sometimes my general intention might get obscured if it wasn't for me constantly reminding people what time it is. So that's also why I do these intros and I have my rhymes in there, so you don't fucking forget that as nice as these battle rappers are, I'm nice with it too.
Exactly what you were explaining about, being the host, doing the intro, whatever. You kind of set the tone, set the pace, set that enthusiasm. And when I first started doing combat sports podcasting, my intros were like, "Hey, fucking glad you're here." They were this flat and dead. And the guy who was teaching me stuff, he said, "Think about Bruce Buffer." He's like, "Is Bruce Buffer in the cage? Like, it's time. They're gonna fight." No, he goes, "It's time," and it's fight time. So as you were saying that, I was getting fucking fired up. Like, yes, I get exactly what you're saying there. Now, I need to know, me, tons of other people think you're the best host, the best at intros. Who, in your opinion, is the best at it? Aside from Donnie Narco, who is the best?
I mean, fuck. How do I say this without coming off super pompous? Like,
hey, it's fair. You fucking earned it.
I don't think anybody else is even in the same galaxy as what I do.
No, I love that.
They're
not.
They're not. There's nobody. There's other great battle rap hosts. Like Poison Pen is an incredible battle rap host.
Yeah.
Organik is a great battle rap host. You know what I mean? Like in his own right for what he does. Ops or not ops, whatever. Smack is great at what he does. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like ARP, Debo, all these dudes are great at what they do. As far nobody, I am not influenced by anybody else. I don't use any. I don't even watch other people host. I don't watch their intros. I don't watch other people do commentary. I can't. I never. Jay Black is great at what he does. I don't that's not in the same realm as what I do. I feel like what Jay Black brings to the table is a very clinical, analytical, ESPN-esque approach. That's what, you see him wearing the suit, doing all that. Like me, I keep it funky. I keep it hip hop. Like I come from a cultural perspective of the way I look at it. Like I'm analyzing okay, you're from Chicago. Well, I know that you're from, and you have a double time cadence in your flow. That's reminiscent of Crucial Conflict, Speed Not Mobsters, and Twista, and the 90s rap movement of Chicago with a style that's known as sniping. Like when I was interviewing Gage, you don't hear other people doing that. You know what I mean? You don't, because I'm coming from a strictly hip hop perspective. I'm not influenced by Bruce Buffer when I host battles. I'm not influenced by, Dana White or whatever the fucking WWE guy's name is. McMahon. You know what I mean? Like I'm not influenced by these people at all. I'm definitely not influenced by no fucking Adam 22 or DJ Vlad or any of these fools. You know what I'm saying? I'm not influenced by Ebro. I'm not influenced by Elliot Wilson or any of these. Respect to all of them, respect to everybody I've named. But I am my own entity in hip hop culture, 100%. I'm not influenced by Sway. I'm not influenced by Funkmaster Flex. I'm not influenced by any of these fools.
So wait, hold up.
I am my own entity.
Hold up. You just came off rip with Bruce Buffer, which is completely fucked up because I was waiting for you to finish your thought, and then I was coming with a Bruce Buffer mention. But here's where we're going with that. We've talked to Direct a whole lot, and we've talked with him about, because he likes combat sports himself. So he, listening to him talk about back in the day and taking things like you have that people didn't really know about or maybe didn't care about and really grooming it and putting in the time. I had said to him at one point, would you say then that you were the first Dana White of battle rap back in the day? It took a lot of cajoling to get him to agree with it because he was like, nah, I wouldn't say that. Finally, he was like, okay, maybe. And of course, everybody on earth after him was like, oh, no, yeah, he's the Dana White of battle rap, right? So with you, though, I wasn't at all going to say, are you influenced by Bruce Buffer? But I feel like if you're going to even come close to being I'm that dude, you got to be the Bruce Buffer of battle rap. I'm not saying there's nothing about y'all that is similar in any way.
I get that. And no, I totally get that. And I can see how it would appear to be like that from outside. But Bruce Buffer says the same thing every single time.
He's got a point.
He doesn't say slick shit like that. You know who I was the most influenced by? I'll keep it a bundle. There's two different things I was influenced by. I was influenced by sportscasters like Vin Scully watching the Dodgers growing up. He would always say slick little different shit You know, I was a big fan of sports growing up, a big fan of baseball. So he would always say slick shit. And I used to be like, yo, it'd be dope to be like a sports announcer. You know what I mean? So like that was something that influenced me. But that's such a subtle influence that I'm never consciously even drawing from. I'm just digging so deep trying to figure out where this came from. But really it's like I'm influenced by, here's my biggest influence if you want to crack the code of me hosting. It's the intro track to every single West Coast rap album from gangster rap of the 90s. You listen to fucking Snoop's album, you listen to E40's album, you listen to all the shit talking, all the slick shit they would say, you feel me, like before, like, hey, what's up, players? It's 1990 fever. You feel me? Like all that kind of shit. That's what influenced me. That's where my swag came from as far as hosting. It's like I'm hosting like the voice at the beginning of a gangster rap album. So every time you see me host from now on, just think about that, because that's really where it came from. You know what I mean? Like there's no, and I feel like the reason why I have this, and I hate the way I've come across so arrogant, but I'm passionate about this. So it is what it is. And this isn't shit that I'm saying. This shit that other people say. And if you really want to decode the greatness, or if you think I'm annoying as fuck and I suck at what I do, if you want to know where it comes from, this is where it comes from. But I feel like there's a level of greatness that comes by not being influenced, by not being derivative. And because you could tell when other people watch me host and they're hosting battles, they'll have the same cadence, like that whole da 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 da. That cadence of hosting, that's me in 2008. And there's still people that fucking host battles like that. I don't even host battles like that anymore. But like, to me, not being derivative, offsetting my influences, like let's say like we're talking about Snoop Dogg, how Snoop Dogg influences my hosting. When Snoop Dogg's listening to rap, like he's not influenced by other rap to create his hip hop. He's listening to Smokey Robinson and the Dramatics and like, you know what I mean, old school soul. And that's why that comes across in his music. And you like, to me, you have to have influences outside of what it is you do, or else you're just going to be sounding like everybody else.
Oh, look, I couldn't possibly agree with that more. And to be fair, I did not in any way mean that I think Bruce Buffer has influenced you. I just think that in the lexicon, like the conversation in the bigger
Bruce
picture.
Buffer. No, I'm just kidding.
I know. I think people would be like, a lot of people would be like, who's the first host that comes to mind that sounds different? All the things you're saying, like we're in agreement, right? Like Bruce Buffer came up because he did it different and he sounded different. And when he did what he did, he was the best one at doing it. We're saying the same thing. I'm just saying you're that right. Of this. Not that you're like him, that you sound like him or anything like that.
No, I totally get it. I just, and I can understand how that would resonate, but it's like the difference is like, not only is Bruce, like there's no direct equivalent to what I do is the point that I'm trying to, like, you can't make a comparison at the end of the day. That might be the closest one, but it would have to be like, I'm a little bit of Vince McMahon plus Bruce Buffer plus, plus Mean Gene all combined, but I'm more like Ric Flair.
Oh.
I mean, I can get with that. Yeah. I need a woo though.
You feel me? Like, woo, no.
I knew you would. I love it.
You feel me though? Like that's the thing. Like, and I really like, and this is not even me speaking from like, I'm removing myself and looking at it objectively, like whether or not you fuck with me or not, you cannot say that I'm derivative in any way, shape, or form. I'm an alien in this culture.
Speaking of the Snoops and people that you've came across in your path, whether your career, friends with from the start, came up with, became friends with later on, we saw Poison Pen pull out the big stunt with Ice-T. Tretch too. Tretch gets overlooked in this, and I mean, World Technique. That's not a surprise because I know him and Penn are connected. Ice-T was surprised. Tretch was a good surprise. Do you got anything?
Hell yeah.
You pulling out anything for the finale? You pulling up any guests that people are going to be like, what the fuck? Shaquille O'Neal going to be there or anything?
We'll see if anyone cool pops up. At the end of the day, I love my brother Penn because he is literally like there's very few people that I feel like are more tapped into hip hop culture than myself. He's one of the only ones. Like, he is like literally like the bellowing voice of every street corner and alley in Brooklyn. He is the true embodiment of this shit. And he's been doing it for even longer than I have, more deeply in the game than I've been. So like the people that respect and fuck with Penn, it's on a whole other level. You know what I mean? And like that, you just gotta give it up for that. Like, he has earned stripes and his name rings bells in circles, and not just like beyond people knowing who he is. I might got a lot of people who know who I am too, but like that demand respect, that you'll see fucking Ice-T pull up in the middle of Jersey City and park his blue Bentley across the street, hop out with Tretch, and then walk into an event on the word of Poison Pen. You know what I mean? Like, you can't duplicate that at all. And I have so much admiration for that, and I aspire to hold a certain weight like that myself at a certain point. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. For you though, because you mentioned right at the start of the show, Ice-T was one of the ones you first got turned on to in hip hop. Did you ever meet him or speak to him before that interview?
That was the first time I've ever met Ice-T in my life.
It
was super surreal. It was incredible. I found out like the day before Penn had told me, and I started mentally preparing for it. You know what I mean? But he, like, you know, literally the first rap song I ever heard was 6 in the Morning by Ice-T. And, you know, that's permanently etched, like tattooed to my soul. And, you know, like, he was being from the West Coast, especially. So it was super cool. But he's such a he's got that natural /big homie energy. Like, chopping it up with him when he pulled up to the spot, there wasn't no bodyguards. There wasn't no fucking, like, phony Hollywood aura or none of that shit. He was right there amongst us he was among us like a damn fucking video game. He was in the mix, chopping it up with everybody. He was like literally giving advice. There was like you know, my fiance and I and like 2 other people were just sitting there listening to him talk, like lace our tennis shoes for like, you know, 10, 15 minutes straight, just him talking about different things, a conversation I'll never forget. And so it was real easy to transition that to an interview, and being able, like, he's such a chill guy. And, you know, shouts to Technique for really making that intro. I've known Technique for many years, and he's another dude I have a great deal of admiration for. So having him in the mix was incredible, and he's kind of the one that made that whole situation make sense. Getting to chop it up with Tretch too, you know, like going back to 5th grade dances, you know, dancing with girls to OPP and Hip Hop Array. So, yeah.
Poverty's Paradise. Fuck.
You feel great album.
Yeah.
Incredible album.
1993, Poverty's Paradise, all that shit. Their first whole like 3-4 albums in a
Their
row.
First three albums are
classics.
First 3 albums are immaculate.
The Joker, all that shit.
A lot of people sleep on Tretch because it's crazy they were able to make such commercial music, but still be like hardcore MCs at the same time. Technically, Tretch Vin too, but Tretch really is like a masterclass MC. And like, I've even heard like he was a big influence on Eminem coming up back in the day and shit like that. Like, people understate his brilliance, but Tretch is incredible. He was one of the first rappers to put on for Jersey real heavily, obviously. Redman, Queen Latifah as well. But like, Tretch was like, you know, Tretch was a huge star holding it down for Jersey.
Yeah, and he had a thing about his music too. I always found where it's like Jay-Z. You know what I mean? It's not like he doesn't represent Brooklyn to the fullest or anything, but he doesn't sound like that gutter Brooklyn style. You know what I mean? And Tretch, I found the same thing too. Tretch, he could do so much with his music that it wasn't like it just pinned to strictly like that, you know, strictly New Jersey style. He had
straight crossover appeal. You know what I mean? And like had incredible beat selection and knew how to make commercially infectious songs that, you know, white kids were playing at their 5th grade dances, but at the same time were getting love in the project too. So that's something that is very rare and really can't be taught. And he was, you know, if you really think about it, they were Naughty by Nature. It was one of the first groups that really, like one of the first hardcore rap groups that were accepted open-armed into like the MTV contingent, and like white America was jocking super hard, but they didn't really like, they still kept it gutter at the same time. You would see that from groups that were lighting up the incense and putting on head wraps like De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, Arrested Development. You would see they appeared to be non-threatening, so they got love in those sectors. But Naughty by Nature kept it hood, and we're still getting that love. They were one of the first to really transcend that boundary. Like you wouldn't have seen DOS Effects, Onyx, Wu-Tang, and all them dudes. You feel me? And subsequently, my favorite groups like Mobb Deep, M.O.P., Helter Skelter. You know what I mean? Like none of that shit would have come to fruition if it wasn't for groups like Naughty by Nature really kicking the door down.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned that you were prepping for like the night before for Ice-T. When you do interviews, like, say it's a post-battle interview, you're pretty familiar with these guys. You know what's what. Even the guys that are maybe not as necessarily familiar to the to battle rap fans, no matter how hardcore, you probably have caught wind of them, whatever. It's probably, I would assume, it's second nature to you. Is there a different kind of prep you do for something like an Ice-T or an interview that you have coming up that's with somebody completely unfamiliar with you? Or like, how does your prep process work for something like that? Like an Ice-T or a Tretch or somebody you never spoke to?
No, I mean, to be honest, there's not that much preparation that I should if I was going to improve certain aspects of what I do. I would probably do that. But I think I dig into my freestyle battle or just freestyling bag, and the same parts of my brain that I would use to freestyle, to read a room, to hook my brain onto certain things to reference, and to elicit a certain response. And that's kind of the same exact science that I apply or try to apply to doing interviews. And I hope that comes across. With like, it's not really like, there's not really too many, I don't have premeditated questions. I kind of like to feel the vibe, feel where they're at, and like have a series of potential things. There's a lot of different directions I could go. So if I'm interviewing Ice-T, I really like to, I don't really filter too much of what I say. I'm a very genuine person that wears my emotions on my sleeve, for better or for worse. So it's kind of like I have to trust myself to keep the conversation going. And like, Ice-T happened to know who I was, and I met, and we spoke briefly during the round before, like a few weeks prior to that. So like he was able to familiarize himself more with me then. So that was dope. But like really it was just like, okay, like I'm about to chop it up with Ice-T, this, like, I want to know so like we're at a battle event. So obviously I'm going to ask him about battling. So boom, let me ask you some questions about that. But we're also both from the West Coast. What's it like doing that? Or what was it like coming from, he's a gangster rapper, he's from the gangster rap era. What was it like being a gangster rapper, but did you have any experiences in battles yourself, and would you transcend that boundary, and what did that look like for you? So there's these different ideas I have in my head, and then just being a good conversationalist, I can kind of riff off of whatever he says, make transitions. Like, I used to do this shit when I was fucking heavily addicted to drugs, so being sober, my mind works 10 times faster. So it's kind of like, it's just chopping game.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Amy, were you going to jump in there?
Yeah, no, I was going to add, I mean, like you know what? Look, you've been doing your thing, right? You've been sober for 10, 11 months, and high five. That's dope as fuck. I feel like that's been the conversation that you've had with a lot of people for that entire time. So we're not going to like really spend a ton of time on that. But I am curious, and if this is too personal, just tell me to fuck off. I'm used to that, and it's fine. But is this like, I mean, you've talked a lot about this and how early in your life, how young you were when you started using. Is this going to be like your first sober adult birthday? And if so, like, that's dope as fuck, but like, how weird is that?
My first sober adult birthday since I was 12 years old. That was my last sober birthday.
I love it. So
yeah, you're talking 1993 was my
Damn.
last sober birthday.
Hip Hop Hooray
Yeah,
was on that album.
Hip Hop Hooray. You
Hip
feel
Hop
me?
Hooray was on that fucking album. That's how far we're going back.
That was the last. That was the last beacon of my innocence, and I probably was already snorting pixie sticks and shit before then. Anyway,
So actually, this is another perfect segue. How do you feel about answering some random Twitter, Instagram questions I have for you?
sure.
All right. So there's quite a list here, so we're not going to go through all of them. And forgive me if I sound like a dumbass because I'm just reading verbatim.
Get it how you live, baby.
I know, right? Okay, so first off, what are your top 10 favorite battles of all time?
Top 10.
Holy fuck.
Oh, okay, 10 was the question. We can go with 5.
Okay. I'll name a few for sure. Matt Hoffa versus Iron Solomon. Probably my favorite battle of all time. I feel like that was the battle that kind of introduced the modern era of battle raps. Like that was like one of the first battles that popped off on YouTube, and it was the transition of bridging the gap between the Scribble Jam backpack style with the Fight Club more street style that Mass had, and like you would see personalized content directed at your opponents, but it was like pre-written and not a freestyle. That was like a very revolutionary battle that changed the times. Reed Dollars versus Trig, back in the Street Status DVD days. Huge fan of Philly battles. I love the Philadelphia style. It's super fucking it's like they have crazy cadences and delivery patterns and technical skill, but it's just like a level of rawness and gutterness that no other region really captures. And I love like little colloquial eccentricities, and that's what, like I said, one of my favorite things about hip hop. And Philly really expresses their personality through battle rap, and that battle to me is the fucking epitome of that. So I love that battle. I'm a big fan of. I think I definitely got to mention Thesaurus versus Immaculate. And I'm crazy that I got to set that up and host that battle because they're two close friends of mine, and there was always like it was just like a heavily debated. People always wanted to know like who's better between the two of them. They had battled only a handful of times, but only in the freestyle era, and actually had never had a legit battle. And this was the first one, and it definitely over-delivered and was amazing to watch. I'll say Passwords versus Hollow the Dawn from Battle of the Bay 5. That's an amazing battle. I love that battle. There was just, two fools going at it, east and west, at the best of their, just like at their peak form of rhyming. I love that shit. I love Dizaster versus Slave Sever. That's one of my favorite battles. I think that's 5 right there.
All right. Let's see. We got a Love Lush shout out to the big homie. That's not a question. All right. Most underrated West Coast battler currently.
Ooh.
Currently? I would have said Saint before this tournament, but I think the man is starting to smell his flowers. And it's not because he's pushing up the daisies either. He's very much alive. And the he's a dude that I've been trying to properly get recognized since 2017. In fact, I first found Saint when he was 17 years old, and he was battling on a league called LA Battlegrounds. Shouts to my homie Alcatraz and Woods, RIP, for setting up Saint's first battle. He was in a tryout league from LABG called Catch the Fade, and what that was it was a tryout battle, and he couldn't even string 12 bars together without choking.
Aww.
But and I was like, but within those 12 bars, I could just instantly saw it was the first time I saw him, and I knew there was star power there, and he was going to be fucking great. And shortly thereafter, a couple years later, he had his battle versus Geechee Gotti. And Geechee wanted taking off and being a huge star, but Saint also I knew deserved that push, and I've been trying he's been like my main project these past 3 years in battle rap is getting Saint that recognition, and I'm glad that he's finally getting it. The reason, I'm going to still say Saint because despite the greatness he's achieved, he's still being left out of certain conversations. Like, he needs to be considered up there with, the dude just beat Dizaster in a battle, but you need to have him in the conversations with B-Dot, Danny Myers, Geechee. Like, he's top 5 in the West, hands down.
All right. I think everybody on this show rocks with that. So, let's see, pancakes or waffles?
Waffles all fucking day. You feel me? Waffles, you can put. I mean, like, pancakes is cool and all, but I like the buttermilk joints. You feel me? Like, but I feel like they're so much better with like chocolate chips and all this. The texture is not as interesting. You could do so much more with waffles. You could use waffles as a damn cheeseburger bun if you really want to. You can fucking put chicken and waffles together. Like, there's so many different cool juxtapositions of waffles. They don't need to be sweet. You could flip waffles so many different ways. I definitely feel like they are far superior. I'll even, I'm going to go out on a fucking limb here, and I'm going to say that I fuck with waffles more than French toast, too.
Oh, I was about to say, you fuck with French toast, I'm going to fucking cuss you out, dude. Come on, man.
I fuck with French toast, but I still like, I you know what I mean? Like, maybe it's because I fuck with Jean-Claude Van Damme. I like them fucking Belgium joints. You feel me? The waffles, baby.
You're ridiculous. Okay. Let's see. I'm not going to read all of these. Okay, you don't have to answer this one, but have you ever OD'd?
Yeah. Several times.
I mean, to the point that we should be very surprised and thankful that we're talking to you right now.
Yeah, I could have died many, many times, easily. You know what I mean? I've had to have Narcan at the house. You feel me? I OD'd on different drugs. I've OD'd on downers. I've OD'd on MDMA. I've OD'd multiple times throughout the years. I'm lucky that I even have enough marbles rolling around us upstairs because there's fucking holes in my brain that you could drive a damn tractor through. And I definitely almost died several times, so I'm very lucky. There's no other explanation but the grace of God that I'm still here.
Well, look, we're all very glad that you are still here. So there's that.
She asked me about waffles, and she said, "Have you ever OD'd?"
Oh shit! Amy, you are doing a fantastic job.
Look at
first time you ever tried this.
All right, Dan Rather, Jesus Christ.
Thing.
Hey, by the way, read Dan Rather's latest book. It's dope. But anyway, no, I'm literally just reading. All right, I've got 3 more. All right.
No, read it. No, don't even censor it. It's good. It's good. You see, dude, I answered it without hesitation.
No, I feel dumb when I'm reading things because it's like not in my voice, and I have to like think. Anyway, all right. What?
Like this. Have you ever OD'd before?
No. Yeah, I'm like, great. Anyway, what battler would you want to bring to a West Coast KOTD event the most?
That I'm assuming that hasn't been there is a subtext because I've brought damn near between Organik and me and J Pro, like we've brought pretty much everybody out there. There's only a few that we haven't yet. Why not fucking bring Murder Mook or Loaded Lux? Those are like the 2 guys that I haven't got a chance to work with yet that I would love to work with.
All right. Has social media helped or hindered battle rap? I.e., is there some dissonance between a lot more exposure versus trolling, toxic fans, bullshit on the internet?
Well, I wouldn't be able to answer this question right now if it wasn't for the merit of social media. So I think that kind of answers it in and of itself.
Okay, fair. All right, this last.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, if you want a more detailed answer, I think to an extent, obviously, like social media is only as toxic as we allow it to be. If I have a strong foundation of who I am as a person, and I maintain that through prayer, meditation, and positive practices, and don't allow the opinions and the peanut gallery on social media to dictate my emotions, on any given day. It's like I won't let the criticism, I won't let the praise dictate how I feel about myself. As long as I stand firm on those principles, then social media is nothing more than a tool that can be very, very beneficial. Now, I think that it totally is up to the individual. There's obviously like the hive mind of the culture can be very dangerous in certain aspects, but I overall think that if it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't be able to have a career in hip hop to the extent that I do. And it would obviously manifest in a different way. I think that the negative is that it takes away the need for face-to-face interaction and actually experiencing things in person. But guess what? Right now, we're living in the midst of a pandemic where that's not even possible. So if it wasn't for social media, we'd be completely disconnected from each other, including the culture. So overall, I would say when you look at it like that, it's fucking positive.
Side note, we need to have you and RX on a roundtable sometime to talk about mental health and regular health and spirituality and all that. I'm just putting that out there.
No doubt, that's my sis. Shouts to Reese.
Right. All right. So this one, let's see. This one is a comment. This one's a little longer, so bear with me. I'm just reading it verbatim here. Happy birthday to my twinny flame. My soul was complete when I found the missing piece. I could finally exhale, knowing you were my serenity and my peace. Writing over 100 letters to you while you were away, there aren't enough words in this world to captivate the love and longing my heart and soul have for you. You're the best part of my life, and I'm so grateful we found each other again. I love you. But P.S., don't worry. I have games and candy for you later.
Is that Marissa.
God.
How did you? Oh, I can't believe you spoke to Marcus. That was so nice of you guys.
Retarded. Side note, only because I have gotten so much joy from this, but maybe not everybody who listens is privy. You got to tell this happy birthday, you got some dope new kicks story.
Oh yeah, so my fiance Marissa had apparently ordered me some two-tongue menage a trois Nike Sakai's, which are crazy ass fly hype beast ass sneakers. And I don't even know how the fuck she found, to be honest with you. And I'm afraid to know how much money she spent on. But she ordered. So I was in LA back home in LA hosting the fucking Grand Prix. Came back home to Philly to her the day after, and there is a box, and I was expecting another package. So I opened it up and I was like, wait a second, I didn't order this. This looks like shoes. And I opened it up and it's these crazy kicks. And I was like, damn, am I sponsored by Nike or some shit? I didn't know what was going on. But no, it was my birthday present, prematurely born into this world. But it was very sweet, and I'm very touched by her and that message. It's awesome that you got her to say that. That's incredible. Thank you very much for that. And I love her eternally. I'm very blessed that our souls were able to find each other.
I mean, there's in the last since you've been out, there is nothing I love more than y'all loving each other. It's most of the time I'm like, I can't, y'all are gross. Can you shut the fuck up? Why are we on Twitter? But for some reason I'm like, oh, I love y'all. It's too much. But you gotta rock those kicks. I feel like there was a picture somewhere, and I also feel like it was deleted. But they're and I'm not a shoe person at all. Those were dope as fuck, dude.
Yeah, they're crazy. They got two tongues, or there's four tongues total because there's two shoes, but they're really ill. I fuck with them heavy. Yeah, Yeah, she's got good taste. There's not too many, like, I found like a female version of me who's just a lot more level-headed and together and responsible and a lot less reckless than I've been in my past. But I was blessed enough to find her when I actually we first met. It's crazy because before we met, I remember one day she started following me on Instagram, and I thought it was a catfish account. I was like, this chick is bad as hell. It was like, that's probably a catfish, you know what I mean? Didn't look like a real person type shit. And then I looked and it said like, oh, okay, Billboard recording artist, oh, she's a singer. Okay, no, that makes sense. I think it is a real person. Let me follow her back, woompy whoomp. And then, we would like each other's posts occasionally, but not really interact too much. And then I was at the Mass 3 event, and I saw this super bad chick that was there, and she was like in the VIP area near the stage and shit. She was with some dude though, right? And I was like, well, that's probably her boyfriend. Newsflash, fast forward, it was actually her brother, but he fucking walked around like a guard dog. Yeah, he walked around like a guard dog, so you think the motherfucker's her brother, her boyfriend. You think it's her boyfriend, right? Like, I can't even push up on shorty like that because her boyfriend's gonna fucking have a heart attack and shit. You know what I mean? Like, but it's actually her brother, and he was like, I thought he was mad dogging and pissed off. Turns out, he's one of my best friends now. I love my brother. It's my brother too, John. But I thought the motherfucker was mad dogging me, but actually he just had a stomach ache and wanted to go home. You feel me? Like, but I thought he was ice grilling me and shit, trying to like get near his girlfriend. He's like, I just want to go lay down so I don't throw up. You feel me? Like, because I ate too many.
He was like, take her, let me go home. Jesus.
Yeah, exactly. He would have for show left her. You feel me? Like, so I didn't even know. He was looking at her like, can we get the fuck out of here? I'm thinking he's like, if one of these dudes tries to talk to you, I'm gonna fucking do a karate move type shit. You feel me? Like, but I like, I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you try to get, like, I'm slick. I don't like walk up. I've never been the type to like walk up to a female like, what's up, girl? You hella fine. Like, I've done that shit before, of course, but like, I'm kind of a peacock. I'd like her to initiate the conversation. Like, I'll put myself in the peripheral and like put myself in a conversation adjacent to hers. So then like we happen to start talking naturally. You know what I mean? Super manipulative. I know. Super manipulative.
Super manipulative.
It's smooth,
naturally. Yeah, it's supernatural, but manipulative.
Yeah, exactly. Supernatural and supernatural. Like I'm a fucking like a magician when it comes to these hoes. You feel me? Like fucking So I'm trying to get near her and get her attention, but like she's, no matter what, she won't say nothing to me. I'm like, damn, I've been like fucking 5 feet from this girl's face for fucking hours. She's not even glancing in my direction. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Do I got a fucking Rudolph pimple on my damn nariz? What the hell is going on here? And then all of a sudden, we're like outside, and she like finally looks at me, and she's all like, Lush One, what's up? I was like, damn, you do know who I am. And then I put 2 and 2 together that it's the same girl. We started talking, and within a year and a half, she was on a flight to LA and never left.
So you baptized on that shit.
I baptized. Good one. There you go. 2 points for you.
Bro, 2 hours and you haven't popped off with that yet? I'm actually kind of disappointed.
I haven't properly baptized on this forum. You feel me? Like, my crip homies hate when I say baptized too, but I can't help it. It's so good. It's forever going to be baptization.
My favorite thing. Between that and delineate, like, I don't even need battles. I'm just like word nerding, and it's my favorite thing.
The fun here's, did I ever tell the story of where baptized came from? Because it's really, it's actually, I was rolling with 2 of my homies on the way to the face-offs for the week for the second round of the West Coast division. So I'm on my way to Avocado's crib. I'm with my two best friends, my boy Smokey and my boy Pistol. You might know Smokey is the DJ for all the West Coast events. He's my DJ. He's my little bro. Great dude, you know what I'm saying? And Pistol, he's been on a lot of music with me and has his own music, and you find him on the Non-Perishables compilations and all that. Incredible MC. And Pistol, he's from Watts, so like he has a lot of family and homies that are gangbangers and shit. Like, and he's talking to one of his homies on the phone. They're having this conversation. The dude's obviously a blood. Like, I could just tell from how he talks, he's a blood. He's saying a bunch of lingo and shit that's like super blooded up. And then like he says something. He's like, yeah, I'm just trying to go out there and capitalize on the situation. And like throughout the rest of the conversation, I'm like, why didn't he say capitalize? Like it just was like in my head, capitalize. He should have said. Pistol gets off the phone. First thing I say is, why didn't he say capitalize? And just from then on, it's been up and it's stuck with Baptalize. And then I introduced it, I think that weekend, actually, the first time when I was hosting, I said it, and it's just like, I'll see it in the chat, Baptalize. So, yeah. All the bloods out there in the world could thank me for that one. Had to do it for y'all.
All right. So in the words of Family Man Hayes, but back to battle rap. As Amy was reading off those fan questions, like she was a game show host, like they were trivia. You commented about working with Lux and Mook. It's something you've never got to do, something you'd always like to do. There is I'd like to believe it's a misconception in battle rap that like there's no way anyone that is associated with KOTD can work with anyone associated with URL or Smack. First of all, is that bullshit? And second of all, what has prevented you from working with Mook or Lux?
Oh, we've come very close multiple times, and like we were actually at one point gonna do an Ether 2 event, and we were gonna do Dizaster versus Mook, and I was in close communications with Mook and his people about it. Lux, been in conversations with as well. Him and I were on the set of the movie Body together, big kicking it. He's a great dude. I love people. I love Harlem. I always said that, and maybe it's because my dad's from uptown Manhattan, but if I was from New York, I'd for sure be from Harlem. I love their fashion sense and, the rappers from Harlem, Big L, Cameron, Mace, like that whole swag is, amazing to me. I love it. I love uptown. I have more fun at uptown than I do in Brooklyn or anywhere else. That's been my zone.
Whoa.
When I'm in New York.
Why you gotta?
Go
ahead.
Huh?
Why do you like Brooklyn though? I mean, Brooklyn's a whole different world. Can't even compare.
I love Brooklyn. I spent a lot of time in Brooklyn. My brother used to live there. My grandfather's from Brownsville, Brooklyn. So yeah, and I'm definitely I'm no stranger to the soil whatsoever. I've been all through Brooklyn, from Canarsie, Coney Island, Flatbush. I got a tattoo on me that I got when I was on Fulton and Franklin over there in Flatbush.
Stop!
I've been all through.
Lush, no, I'm gonna stop. No. First of all, when we were talking to Pam, we talked about this because I lived off Franklin and Fulton, literally that intersection.
Okay.
Obviously when I lived there, which was much more recent than I'm guessing your tattoo, there was nobody, unless it was a street tattoo, doing ink on that intersection.
No, there's a tattoo shop. There's a tattoo shop right there. My man Slim, who was on the show Black Ink, had a shop right there.
But like, when was this?
2013.
Nah, bro's not there. Nah, this dude's not there now. But either way, like,
yeah, it might not be there now. There's been, Brooklyn's gotten more and more gentrified over the years. But yeah, no, when like Penn's my big bro. Like when I'm in Brooklyn, I function with Penn and them. You feel me? Like I fuck with Penn when I'm in BK. So it's like, like that's a regular thing. We used to go to that bar called Project Parlor, which is right across the street from the Marcy Projects over there in Bed-Stuy. I've been inside the Marcy Projects on top of that shit on the roof. So like I've functioned with Brooklyn heavy, but I love Uptown. I don't even know what it is. It's the fashion, it's the energy, it's the history. I love Harlem. So that being said, I fuck with Lux and Mook. I've worked with T-Rex. You feel me? I've hosted battles for literally every single legendary battle rapper there is. A lot of them URL rappers. We've brought them to King of the Dot and Grind Time from day one. You know what I'm saying? They've been around. It's just different politics pop up. Fools want to fucking pump the brakes on it and act funny because that's just how certain fools get down. I get it. It's cool. And the rappers wind up being the casualties and caught in the middle, and that sucks for them. But hopefully at some point we could get Lux and Mook out here. It's just them dudes ain't cheap either, so it's not just like a simple situation. There has to be, and there has to be like a whole narrative behind it. But I would definitely, those were, and it's not anything that I feel like is necessary to my legacy in any way, shape, or form. I've hosted battles in fucking 5 different countries and multiple continents and all that shit, 3 different continents. But I don't feel the need to. There's no battle that I need to host to make or break my legacy in that aspect. I'm not even a host anyway, as I told y'all. But it would be dope to do that.
Yeah, I agree with you. You don't need any battle to make or break your legacy. Your legacy's set in stone. But I get what you're saying. It's just something that you would like to do. One thing, just because you say not make or break a legacy, but where something's needed more than not. I don't know why it's just popped in my head. Probably because I'm stoned. Fucking Dizaster and Sharon. That is something that, I mean, as a fan, I want to see really bad. Lots of fans want to see it. Dizaster doesn't need a Sharon battle to complete his resume. And I'm not saying Sharon does, but it is like, damn, that's one that got away. Do you agree with that? And do you think there are other matchups that are like that, where Dizaster's playing it right? Dizaster can take that battle whenever he wants it. If it never happens, it doesn't. I don't think it affects him the way it does. It affects Sharon's resume when it's all said and done.
I think the greatest thing that's ever happened for the possibility of that battle emerging is both of them losing the tournament.
Losing? Yes.
The fact that they both lost. Now there's like that window which was barely open, and then kind of there's like a glimmer of hope when they were both in this tournament, and then Mark beat Sharon and that window snapped shut. And now you got Santa Claus with the crowbar waiting to bust it open again. You feel me? So I would say that there is a chance of that battle. Like, mark my words, there is a chance. I'd say it went from 5% to 35%.
So you're saying there's a chance.
So
you're saying it's going to be the co-main event for the finals?
Chance, like, it's like a prominent chance, and you might catch me in a fat suit with the red beanie on my head, being Santa Claus my damn self.
What the fuck? Okay.
You've seen, like I said at the start of this, insinuating that you stood between so many people hurling insults at each other. You've been a part of so many battles, plus the things that you haven't been a part of. I'm sure you've watched later on or live or whatever it may be. What kind of battles get your fucking juices flowing these days? I know it's like me being a heavy combat sports fan, right? Like you put 2 people in a ring with gloves on and shit. I'm ready. I don't care if I don't even know them. I really want to see it. So I'm sure you're like that with battle rap. But like for me, loving battle rap so much, Marv versus Sharon, that's one of those ones where I was like, fuck, this is one. This is one for the ages. This thing can't fail. Is a Sharon versus Diz something like that for you? Are there ones that stick out for you every now and then that are, get your juices flowed a little more than just every other battle?
Yeah, I feel like that's what I love about this tournament. The fact that its battles are now incentivized again. it affects you can't just go home and it's not just two people that wind up pleading their case to the internet, and it becomes a popularity contest of who won, you know what I mean? Like, and it's just like the court of public opinion determines that. Like, nah, there's a fucking panel of esteemed, reputable judges that determine it. And, the fans have a vote as well, but it's just, instead of 100% and there being no consequences and nobody has a record, it's like, this affects your record, this affects your pockets, and the fans are only controlling 20% of the narrative because there's 5 fucking judges, you know what I mean? So, and the fans are only one of them. So it's literally 20% of the overall narrative is the
5
peanut
judges
gallery.
or 7 or 12 or however many happen on January 10th, dude.
Right, exactly. I think we're gonna stick to the 7-judge panel that seems to be it, but it's possible. It's hard as fuck to wrangle these guys in. So I'm thinking we're gonna probably do the same thing again. But yeah, so I feel like that makes it exciting. To me as a spectator, because like I said, beyond being a host, I'm someone that's very fortunate to have the career that I do. I'm fortunate to have a record deal right now. I'm fortunate to have been on gold and platinum records and toured the entire world and done fucking shows in front of 20,000, 40,000 people at a time and fucking performed at the same festivals as fucking Bob Dylan and Sting. Outside of battle rap, no connection. Like, my experience in the world of hip hop and music is so rich, and I'm so blessed to be able to experience that with every ounce of my soul. I can say that. So, but I still get excited about this shit. There's nothing. I'm just like Penn, bro. There's nothing that Poison Pen hasn't seen. There's nothing that I haven't seen in this culture. But that doesn't mean that I still don't. I love it with everything in my entire being. So, the thought of it's not a specific matchup, it's the specific moment, and it's just when things happen that are unexpected, and Saint getting a shot in the finals, fucking Marv One's incredible run coming back from when people weren't expecting him to even be in the mix, to getting to the finals, to fucking to times with the upset of the century against KOTD champ, Real Deal in round 1, making it all the way to the finals, fucking pulling out 50 racks in one of the shit like that. To me is these moments that are forever etched in our consciousness.
Yeah, Family Man Hayes too. He is just. I mean, it's funny because he switched up his whole thing from Boy to the Family Man Hayes thing, and it's there is a difference. He looks like Boy and acts like Boy, but there's a reinvigorated swag. There's step to his swag in this tournament.
No, there's an element of maturity that he has as Hayes that he didn't have as Boy. Yeah, he is a family, and I feel like he wears this style a lot better. And I always fucked with Boy, but Family Man Hayes is that's my dude right there.
Yes. Amy touched on this. Judges. Is there anything? I know nothing's been released yet. I'm not trying to, get you to release news or anything. Is there anything you could touch on in terms of what judges you guys are angling for? Anyone who's going to be announced? What the system's going to be? Fan judging still going to be a part of it? What is anything going to change for the finals as far as judging goes?
There's your 97 questions in one. Go.
I'm giving them options.
Yeah, it's like part A. It's like when there's only 3 questions on this fucking math test, but it's A, B, C, D, all the way to Z6. Fly like a Z6. No, so you're always gonna see fan judges on Twitch because Twitch is big on fan interaction, and it's all about incorporating if you watch Twitch outside of the context of battle rap and you just watch the Twitch gamers and all that shit, they're constantly referring to the chat, and the chat's voting on certain things that they want them to do and all this shit. So that's a huge thing, you know what I mean? So judges are always the fan judges are always going to be in the mix. As far as the panels, we don't want to switch our panel up from people that have already been in the mix. So you're most likely going to see a juxtaposition of some of the top judges we've had thus far. Ben Swayze, I'm sure, will be in the mix. You know what I mean? Possibly 6 Seconds. Some of the Nameless, Shoddy, you know, possibly Roan. All those dudes that we've been seeing doing an incredible job will most likely be brought back in the mix. There might be 1 or 2 new additions, but we're trying hard to stick to the panels that we've had so we don't have to spend time reintroducing somebody to the entire process and going through it. You know, everyone's done an incredible job. Also, Boss Chick Reigns done a great job. There's a lot of great judges.
How do you feel about the fan vote? Do you think it's been fair?
I mean, the fan, like, whether or not I agree with how they've been voting, I do think it's cool to incorporate and have in the mix because it's a good way to gauge, and you know, it's interactive. It's bringing the people into the mix. It's forcing people to dial in and pay attention. And although there's no way to really determine how fair it is, I think that since they're going to be the voice that talks about it afterwards,
True.
they should have a say in the mix. It just shouldn't be the sole determining factor.
I mean, but it is if it's a hung jury. So
yeah, that has happened a couple times or multiple times during this where it's been split and the fans decided.
And I think that's valid because at the end of the day, if you really break down the element of emceeing and you because remember, dude, we can't really stray too far. Hip hop's evolved, but it's still fucking hip hop at the end of the day. And you know, like if you look at the battle MC battles, we go back to even before the golden era, like the earliest form of MC battling, it's who could rock the crowd the most. Like, we want to hear this guy rap, get this other fool the fuck out of here, get him off the mic. You feel me? Like, that's the core essence of an MC battle. So if you don't have the people, if you're not rocking the crowd, it doesn't matter how many lyrical miracles you could spiritual. No one gives a fuck. You have to be able to tap in to the crowd. MC stands for move the crowd. Master ceremonies, move the crowd. That's it. So it's if it comes down to it, if the judges are completely deadlocked, what do the people got to say? Boom. They like him. They don't like you. You win.
And the venue for the finale, is that going to be the same as the rest of the West Coast?
Most likely. We're looking at the same venue.
Looking at the same venue? So it'll be the same setup?
You know,
I'm just trying to find out if there's going to be anything
look,
different.
as long as you have internet, we're good with the venue.
That's what I was going to say. It's really difficult to find places. We're fortunate to be able to use the space that we have because right now, LA's fully locked down and it's fully shut down. Avocado can't fucking drive all of his equipment across the country to do it anywhere else. We don't have a limitless fucking piggy bank. Ain't no fucking dead relatives to fucking wire us money to fucking fly 17 people out to, you know what I mean, some random city. We have to do this in LA. And that's where the entire tech crew is based at. That's the base of operations for this tournament. We have to do it there. So, there's only so many venues that we could even use that are open to us. And then you have to factor in what's affordable, what has the right acoustics, what has a proper internet connection that won't drop when we're using so much bandwidth. So when you put all those factors, and we don't have, you see what happened when we try to switch it up. Boom, the motherfucking internet died on us. We can't have that happen in the finals.
Okay, and as far as
what I will tell you is this. We have some surprises. And the surprises are going to be in the form of which battles get booked. Because the undercard matches, it's a damn, bro. It's fuck a movie. It's a fucking trilogy. It's a Star Wars trilogy. Fool. That shit is beyond epic. You about to lose your mind.
And there's nothing we could get, eh? I was just gonna ask you that. What the hell? What can you give us for the undercard? Can you let us know which direction you're going in? And you just answered it without me asking and made it more suspenseful.
We're glimpsing at our past. we're glimpsing at our future, and we're glimpsing at everything that defines us as a brand.
I enjoy that. That sounds like this is the future of KOTD, and I've always been behind the future of KOTD. I've been, there pretty much since day one, pushing the brand, the promotion as a fan, like waving that KOTD flag. That's no disrespect to other things. It's where I live. I live near Toronto. They're in my backyard. It's, the closest thing I had at home other than watching shit on YouTube or grainy videos before YouTube. So it's not like, it's not downplaying any other league. So I can definitely get behind what you're saying right now and more future at KOTD. And this shit sounds like it's going to be the biggest movement in KOTD yet.
Yeah, it is. It is. It absolutely is. And this is what fans, anyone that's been a fan of this tournament and anyone that's a fan of the overall King of the Dot brand is going to be beyond excited about this.
All right. I mean, look, it's no Mom's Spaghetti, which turned out to be bullshit, J-Pro. But anyway, I in closing, or at least before we wrap with you, maybe this is because I have followed you for so long, and I feel like I've heard a lot of things. It seems like you have said, for you, all there is to say, right? You have so many experiences and so many outlooks and so many opinions and so many stories, which is what we're here for, obviously. And people love to hear and ask about it. But what is something, whether it's a podcast or a conversation face to face or wherever, whatever the venue, whatever the context, what is something that you would like to talk about or wish somebody would ask you about that you never get asked, that you never get to just pop off about?
I mean, you already asked me about pancakes and waffles, so I mean, where can we go from there?
Don't fuck with me. Come on now.
With the best follow-up ever. You like pancakes or waffles? You ever overdosed? You ever killed anyone?
Yeah, look, you ever overdosed?
If you want pancakes versus waffles questions, we can have an entirely different conversation that is all dumbass questions. So,
one time I overdosed on waffles at Roscoe's, to be honest.
Stop. Oh, ugh.
I have overdosed on syrup, I'm pretty sure, too. Oh, ching.
Sipping on some
what
scissor.
do I wish?
I can't. No, and the reason I ask is because I know you are one of those people who's I'm gonna talk about what I want to talk about, right? So sometimes maybe it might be difficult to find something that you haven't spoken on or that you would like to talk about but haven't or couldn't. There's got to be something. Is there something you wish people knew about you? Is there something you wish you had more platform to shine a light on? There's got to be something.
I definitely wish that people would tap into my knowledge more, and people do this, so it's not because I'm very candid, I'm very open. People, I hope I make people comfortable to ask me questions because I will answer pretty much anything you ask, except for who's battling on the next card. That's the only thing I'm not going to answer.
I'm out.
But I wish more people would tap into my brain as far as other elements of hip hop besides just battle rapping. I get asked a lot about, and I understand why I do, and I'm not resentful. I'm appreciative that I even get a chance to have that kind of discourse, but I have so much knowledge about hip hop overall, and I'm more passionate about that than I am strictly battle rap and my own music as well. These are things that I would like to tap on more. And that's not to say that people don't, because I get asked about all those things, but I would like to do that. Just anything, any times that there's a question like that, I'm into it. And you guys did it as well, so I appreciate that. But also anything, I have a lot of eccentric interests outside of all this stuff. People never ask me about comic books. They never ask me about other genres of music. They don't ask me about movies that much, like all different things that, you know what I mean? Like my family background, like, again, these are all things that I've done of hundreds, probably over 1,000 interviews in my life. So like, I can't, you know, like there's a lot that's been touched on, but, yeah, like I'm really like anything you want to know, however specific, obscure the reference is, if there's something you saw me say that you like, that's why I thought it was dope, Amy, that you brought up, like, when you made this comment, what did it mean? And like, you see, like what you got out of me when you asked that question, like you paid attention to something that I said casually in a post on Facebook. And then I wound up going on like a 20-minute rant when you brought it up. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but that's obviously a great question, because you're tapping into something that I'm passionate about and not just what you think the masses want to hear from me.
Well, look, I know what the masses want to hear from you, and it's something that they hear from you anywhere that you choose to go if they choose to listen. But well, I got lots of questions. Also, generally have no filter. Also, not going to keep you all night. So I'm going to follow that up with two things. One, and you mentioned this was actually on my list of questions as well as my social media list of questions from other people. You know, obviously you've got some new shit you just dropped, and I'm sure are going to drop also moving forward. What though, the social media question is your number one favorite ever, no cap, bar none, bottom line thing that you personally have done musically? Not battle rap, not hosting, not at a fucking LA riot. Just, you know, like, if somebody wanted to Google Lush and be like, I want to listen to some shit that's out presently, what should they find?
I mean, I think that my most recent single is like, you know, I put out a lot of music that I love. I'm putting out even more that I love. But I feel like my most recent single is just like me, and it's my core essence and kind of everything that I stand for as a human being. I think that's why it's resonating so well. And that Mad Deep record. And, you know, I'm fortunate enough to actually be on a label and get proper distribution for it. Having a lot of people hear it, getting a little bit of radio play. You got Avocado playing it to death on the damn Grand Prix. Right. And I just, you know, people tend to really enjoy it because there's no affectation. It's just me being myself 100% to a T. And like, coincidentally, it wasn't even like super intentionally done like this, but like, you know, it's just like, you could play it in any atmosphere. Like it's got hood elements to it. It's got bars. It's got dark energy, but it's more accessible and easier listening. There's no cuss words in it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, he's on his Will Smith shit. All right.
Yeah, I'm on my Will Smith shit. Exactly. You feel me? That's because I live in Philly right now, so I'm on my Will Smith shit. But
the city of
not like
non-cussing love.
Yeah, exactly. No, like it. You know what it was is like, because I was like, if you listen to my album, it's got very abrasive material. I'm talking about, you know, I'm talking a lot about drugs, both sides of the game, from the hustling aspect to the pitfalls of addiction and the juxtaposition of those two things feeding off of each other, and the chaos that is spawned from that, living in an environment like Los Angeles. And that's the whole genre of music that I kind of created. This is my form of hip hop, LA noir audio cinema, because it's, you know, it's dark, it's gritty, but it's inspired by this, and it's fully inspired by the city, you know what I mean? But it's my own take and interpretation on the culture. And this record like has certain elements of that as well, and it's cinematic as well, but it's a lot more easy to digest and listen to. And I was like, okay, this is a record that doesn't need to be edited if it was going to get radio play. I don't make records geared towards the radio, but this one, I was like, if, you know, this is something I can play for my fucking mom and shit, and she don't need to look at me cross-eyed or anything. You feel me? So
he's
that's
on
really
some
what
Snoop
it
Dogg
was.
gospel shit. I love it.
That's what it was. You feel me? Like, but if you listen to what I'm saying some really grimy shit in the bars, but I'm just not but it's just not as vulgar. And to me, like, it's not even like it's that actually kind of made me flex a level of creativity that's on a higher vibration than I was even previously before. So, but I mean, like the next several records I made after that have definitely got a few cuss words here and there, to say the least. But like I'm still dealing with the same themes I always do in my music, but in a much more palatable way. And I felt very proud of that record, and it definitely expresses who I am.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
Yeah, when
do you like it is the question.
Krill, yeah. And I was just gonna say, Krill, our co-host, who's unfortunately not here for the fucking umpteenth time I've said that in this show. He is fucking pretty much terrible at posting things, okay? And he messaged me and he was like, "Yo, Lush is single, mad deep. We should post it on the Billion Downtown page." I said, "You fucking know how. Go ahead." So he did. This is on November 29th. And I said to him, I haven't heard it yet. What's it like? And I'll never forget what he said to me. It's mad Tribe Questy, but a little harder. And the way you were just explaining it, you're like, there's hard shit in there, but not as vulgar. I was like, that's exactly what Crow was saying. It's mad Tribe Questy. I was like, what a great way to put it, Crow.
I'll take that. That's a huge compliment, you know. But yeah, like I feel like it definitely got like you don't really hear too much hip hop being made nowadays that sound like that. But at the end of the day, I'm about to be 39 years old in a couple of hours. I can't be trying to make this fucking it's one thing to make skinny jeans rap, and like these motherfuckers got leggings on now. They're wearing tights. You feel me? Leotard rap. I can't do that eyeliner leotard rap. You feel me? And that's not no disrespect to them, but that's just, I would be foolish trying to do that. I gotta rep where I come from, my era. So this that LA in the motherfucking 90s type shit, but just in a modern context, because we're not trying to be, like we said earlier, we're not trying to be derivative.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like a really important question that is unrelated to anything we're talking about. But
I've overdosed.
Yeah, that was not even my question. We're overdosing a million times apparently now. No, so like you talked about waffles versus pancakes and Be Still My Broken Heart, French toast, but you also talked about the Italian part of your family. You've talked about food before. Is that a thing? Like, are you just like an ardent eater and you're like, my taste buds, or do you like cook? Because I feel like I've heard multiple takes from you on food things. And to be fair, I'm a chef. Jason is a chef in his former life. So maybe I'm the weirdo that notices this shit. But like there have been multiple times over the years that I've been like, do you just like to eat? Or like, what's happening in your house? What are you making?
No, I for sure love to eat. And I like exotic things. I like flavors, you know what I mean? I like flavors and textures, and I like exotic music, exotic women now, and exotic food, you know what I mean? Like that's it. Like that's just always, I like things that are outside the norm. So like eating is very big. Yeah, my mom's an incredible chef. And, she studied in Florence, Italy under Giuliano Brugali, like who's a world-class chef from back in the days. So, yeah, my mom got fucking handles in the damn kitchen. She go crazy. And, growing up in L.A. around a bunch of Mexican, like most of my close friends are Mexican. So I, like, love Mexican food, like, real authentic Mexican food. Love all forms of Asian cuisine as well. You know what I mean? Love South American food, Caribbean food, like all that shit. Obviously Italian food. So I can whip up some pasta just because I've seen my grandma and my mom doing it growing up. But, like my lady is a bomb cook, so I eat her food, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I like to I like going to restaurants, especially now that I can't do drugs anymore and I don't do drugs or drink. I really get off on eating. It's kind of my thing now. And I'm getting my spare tire is getting a spare tire, but that's all good because like it's, at the end of the day, man, like it sure beats fucking snorting crystal meth off of a toilet,
Big facts. Big facts. Yeah. But So wait, so what's the flavor of the night tonight for both the candy and the Faygo?
Okay, what do we have, baby?
The pork patties with the au jus sauce.
What's it called?
Au jus sauce.
Au jus?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had like some crazy French pork sirloin patties that were off the hook with some I think it's called au jus sauce on it. I don't know. It was fire though. She's got me trying to eat keto right now, but I feel like she eat a bunch of candy.
Not with the candy and the soda.
Yeah, there's a bunch of zucchini chopped up, right? And instead it was like this like pretend rice, but it was really just chopped up cabbage on the side. It was flames though. There's a lot of olive oil on it. Yeah, dude, like we go hard in the paint. Like we're always like I gotta eat something exotic. I need to, if not super regional. Like since I'm in Philly, I be fucking up the cheesesteaks. You know, like when wherever I'm at, I want a taste of I want the du jour. You feel me? What are they eating in the hood right now? Like if I'm in Maryland, if I go to Baltimore, I need to get some seafood, some crab cakes and all that. You feel me? Like if I'm in Boston, I need some chowder. If I'm in Miami, I need some fucking Peruvian food, some Cuban food. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just the way I love Jamaican food wherever I'm at. So wherever I'm at, when I'm in New York, I need chopped cheese. When I'm in Chicago, I need like some fucking fire ass hot dog. When I'm in LA, I'm for sure smacking the best street tacos in the hood. Period. Like that's just it. He's like something decadent, and I'm eating a po' boy sandwich in Louisiana.
Don't talk to me about
chicken.
Go on.
What do you eat in Montreal? What do you eat in Montreal?
For sure. Okay, Montreal, obviously the poutine smack.
Yes.
But the poutine smacked. I fuck with poutine. But there's a Portuguese chicken restaurant in Montreal that is absolutely exquisite, and that is a very unique flavor. I fuck with the Portuguese chicken.
Amy, I know you're dying here. He's talking food. I know you're dying to say something.
No, dude, bro. If we're gonna talk about food, we're gonna talk about food all day long. Literally, that's
when I was in France, because I'm signed to a label out there. Shouts to Chinese Man Records. They took me to some spot. I love animals. I'm super into animals. Like one of my biggest passions. And these fools,
like eating them or like loving them?
No, like loving them, like petting them and protecting them.
So we're on some dirtbag dance.
I hate the fact that totally. But that's been me from day one. I'm super an animal lover, but I hate the fact that I eat animals. But it is what it is. I love the way they taste as well. I definitely separate.
Need to separate.
It's part of the food chain. Yeah, it's protein. Exactly.
Right.
They're like, it is what it is. But this I felt bad about because, I fucking eaten alligators. I've eaten frog leg. I've eaten all kinds of crazy shit. When I was in France, they were like, yo, order this thing. It is very special. You do not have it too much. But it's called foie gras. So I ordered that shit. I didn't know what the fuck it was. But that was one of the best tasting things I've ever had in my life. But I didn't know that it was like, like a tortured fucking bird that they like lock in a fucking tiny cage and force feed till it almost asphyxiates. And then like, oh man, it's a horrible concept, but it's the best, tenderest thing I've ever eaten in my life.
So I'm going to put you on the spot here. When we talked to Abo, I was like, hey, put Clayton on the phone. Right. So I feel like there are multiple versions of the show or editions that we can/should have with you. And we'll talk about that off the air. But I heard her telling you what you were eating. And you have said, and she has said, that she is a recording artist. You got to give her a legit, off the top, no holds barred, Lush One intro and put her on the phone for at least 30 seconds so we can get a what up from her and hear what she's got going on.
Okay. Okay. You feel me? Um, Throwing fast blows to damage a whole clique. The baddest, sickest blonde chick since Anna Nicole Smith. Give it up, my play partner, Marissa. What's happening?
Oh!
He said something about, remember when you did it was the second one, Town Business, like, my girls like Britney, and everybody just turned and looked at me.
I'm dead. I'm dead.
Hi guys, how are you?
Girl, look.
We're good.
We would look.
Thanks for taking
don't wanna,
taking a moment.
Yeah. We don't want to talk about us. We want to talk about you. What are you doing?
Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. Well, I mean, me and Nick, I got lucky, to be honest. Like, when I met him, he wasn't available, so I backed off. We were just friends. And then we just became like really cool. Like, he would be like, "Hey, how do I do this?" And I would ask him like, "Hey, if I'm doing my music, like, how do I do this?" And after that, we just like grew, obviously, into more. And since then, we've worked on a lot of projects together, and it's been so fun. We just kind of have been continuing more and more. Like, we have something in the works. Myself, Nick, or at Lush, and my brother, something to announce in the next, what do you think, like 2 months? Probably 2 months. So definitely look out for that. As far as just me and my brother, we signed to recently Blanco y Negro. They're a label out in Spain, and then we just put out some tracks. So, I mean, lots of good stuff going on. Nothing too crazy though. He's got way more going on than I have.
Hold up, though. I got some nasally something in there. Like, where are you from? Where are you from? Philly? No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, technically, I can't say I live in Philly because
No. Where are you from? Like, where did you learn how to speak?
Well, I mean, I'm in the suburbs of Philadelphia, so technically, yeah. I mean, like, it's like Philly kind of slang, I guess. Everybody around here has like a very thick Philly accent. Like, we can't be like, yeah, I'm from Philly, but pretty much, like, that's where it comes from. Yeah, it's definitely like a Philly native kind of thing.
All right, so look, we probably need to have you on too, if we're being fair. But until that day comes, whether it's you, your work, your crazy birthday boy who doesn't know how to open packages the right way, or anybody else, what would you like for you? And we'll wrap with him here in a minute. But, like, for you, what do you want to highlight, shout out, like? What's going on? What do you want to talk about? Who should anybody follow, whether it's you, him, or anything else? Like, what's going on in your life?
Thank you guys. Yeah, I mean, if you guys want to follow Urbano, I'm in a Billboard charting duo with my brother. We've been signed to some really awesome labels. Shout out to 418. Shout out to Tommy Boy Records, Blanco y Negro, Humag Distribution, and Sony Orchard. So, we're really just trying to do what we love. And if you guys love dance music, then I highly suggest anybody listening, check us out. You could just find us on Spotify, YouTube. We even have a SoundCloud. Just type in Urbano, all capital letters, and you'll find some, very upbeat dance music. That's what we do. So that's pretty much, what I got going on right now, and I'd like to plug, other than, my birthday boy opening up shoes that he shouldn't have.
I mean, they're dope shoes, so there's that.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm just glad that he liked them. If he didn't like them, then that would be like a horrific story, because when he doesn't like something, his face, it turns this, like, he puts on this, like, very disturbed. It could be like as small as, like, he doesn't like cottage cheese. So like if he even sees cottage cheese, it's like repulsed to the umpteenth degree. Yeah, like he hates mayonnaise and ranch dressing. So
I gotta go! God damn it!
Yeah.
I love you so much.
I'm glad I didn't get that face though, because that would have been way worse than him opening it up on his birthday and then giving me that face. That would have been horrific. So at least he liked them. At least he's gonna wear them because, dear Lord, my bank account is like, please wear them. So it's okay.
I can't. I just like also. Are you like big in the shoe game, or do you just know what he likes? Because I'm not. So like when I saw them, I was like, "Yo, what the fuck is that?" There's like 74 tongues, and they actually kind of look good. Like, are you like big on kicks too, or what?
I mean, I like shoes. Like, I like my money where I could see it, and that's my closet. So like clothes, shoes, handbags. I know a little bit about sneakers. Like, I'm not a prolific sneakerhead. Like, I can't put it on my resume or anything like Nick can, but I definitely know about shoes and sneakers, and I'm very much into fashion.
That's what I should have said earlier when she asked that question. What I want to get asked about more: fucking clothes, shoes. That's all I care about. Like,
yeah, I mean,
you feel me?
That's something me and him very relatable. Like, I had never met a guy like into the same kind of hobbies or just passion, I guess I should rather say, like with the shoes and the clothes and the matching. Like when we go out, it's a disaster. You got to give us like a 3-week notice.
Yeah, it's the Grammys when we step out. I'll tell you why. Like, you've never seen me repeat a motherfucking outfit. I don't even the shit you can't see. I'm not wearing the same drawers. I'm not wearing the same kicks. I don't want to hear nobody in battle rap culture talk about no type of fashion shit with like there's nobody. Because I got the motherfucking game cornered. The only person that rivals me is her.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, but that's why we kind of combine forces into one intergalactic fashionista kind of superhero. That's what happened.
Exactly. Nefarious supervillain / anti-hero.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened.
With Gucci draws on.
Yeah, wow. I remember the first time I met him, his outfit, I was like, I have never seen somebody put an outfit like that together. You had like it was like a brown tie-dye and then like the high-waisted sock, or high-waisted, the high top socks.
I'm trying to make me sound like Foxy Brown out here.
No.
I had psychedelic Chuck Taylors on that I painted myself on LSD.
And I think you had like USA, or like they were like USA colored socks.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, it was like really groovy. And yeah, your tie dye, it was like a brown and
I had the tie dye Gavante shirt on. Yeah. You see, and it runs the motherfucking Grammys when we step out. Please believe that.
So wait, so if y'all were designing a custom pair of Chuck Taylors for each other, what would each have on them?
That's funny that you said that, huh? Because I owe her a pair of Chuck Taylors. Because I told her that first night.
Merry Christmas,
Taylor.
No, they weren't.
Oh,
you
God.
said no. You said you were gonna shush. You said you were gonna paint my Timbs.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, okay. Oh,
but I was wearing Chuck
okay.
Taylors.
Yes.
I turned a $20. I turned a $50 pair of shoes into $300.
Well, you owe me the Timberland.
Right. Okay, because you're from the East Coast, B.
You about to put Jay Murder on your feet? Okay.
Yeah, some Jay Murders, some Air Murders. No, but yeah. So, but the thing is, I don't paint shoes anymore because I don't take LSD anymore. So we're gonna have to sacrifice that. But
I mean, if you had to put something on them for me, what would you put?
Glitter.
Yeah, I mean,
glitter.
That's
just
standard.
douse glitter, and then I put glitter on the glitter, and then glitter on that.
Yeah.
You feel me? She leaves a room and there's glitter in the air.
Yeah, pretty much.
I love this. Okay. Look, I hate glitter, but like I feel like I would support that, buy that, wear that, and feel very.
You get turned out. You get turned out being around her. You say you hate glitter now.
I'm out.
It'll attack you like a fungus. It'll be all over you.
Never get away.
All right, Marissa. And Marissa's gonna put on.
You'll think you work in a strip club by the end of the night.
I'm out. Yeah, I'm sorry, ass.
That's
Okay.
valid.
Your turn.
Goal is accomplished, Amy.
I feel like I would definitely be having someone, because I'm not that great at painting or anything like that, but I'd have someone probably draw like major figures of like hip hop on his
That
shoes.
sounds whack. I'm not
You would
wearing
love that. Are you kidding me?
That sounds whack as fuck.
You would
I don't
love
want no
that.
fucking. That sounds so Python fool. Like
You wouldn't want like people that you listen to all the time, like drawn and painted, like custom.
no, that sounds kind of whack. But why don't you, like, if you said like Selena or like Sade or like Amy Winehouse, some shit like that,
Amy
Marilyn
Big,
Monroe,
yeah.
we could do that.
Yes. Okay.
We could do that.
Well then.
I
we
mean,
can do that.
but what
I
would
mean,
be the number one choice?
I don't want your fucking Tupac sneakers.
I would.
I love Pac, but Jesus Christ,
I was thinking like Prodigy or.
I don't want no damn Prodigy sneakers.
All right. Well. My God, I thought I knew you better.
I mean, look,
No, you know me well.
you're welcome, so you know what to buy in the future. I'm here for you.
Yes, I mean, shoot, I'm glad I got it right this time, because I tell you, I'm getting the mayonnaise face right now.
Jeez, because you know,
Total disgust.
dude, you really think I want some fucking sneakers with Biggie Smalls painted on them?
No, I think that you like unique things with one-of-a-kind detail, because you don't want anybody else to have that.
Yeah, okay. We're working. Yeah, we could do that.
So something like that. That's what I think. Not anything generic, like, or something like California, like.
Something that says my hood on it. You
yeah,
feel me?
or like 667. I was gonna say maybe
some shit
667.
that says like 5150 and like, you feel me?
Yeah, like
Old
like
English.
yeah, something
But
like
if it's
that.
on like a designer piece, like the juxtaposition of something hella street, but something hella exotic at the same time.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
like
that's
the
what
stuff.
I was going for. Something unique but street. That's to your roots, because that's what you love.
All right, Madonna.
Lush, I feel like my sister and your girl just stole our phones from us and started having a conversation.
They
You.
did. They did.
Anyway,
They did.
to wrap up on that thought, what a killjoy. All right. So Lush, obviously you got to come back on at some point. Marissa,
Easy call.
you also, and I feel like this could be a fun like 4-way, or if Kirill's here, 5-way conversation. But at some point we have to, Lush, look, I love you big, long time, but you gotta let her come on without you at some point, okay?
Hey, easy call. Hey, ain't no handcuffs on this. You feel me? Like, so you roam free in these streets. It's all good.
I mean, this the guy with Biggie's shoes. I don't know.
Yeah, she's in a cage after midnight, because if you feed her, she'll turn into a fucking gremlin.
I'm happy to send you some pictures of my dog. But anyway, no. Like, we're gonna wrap soon. Like, we've been blessed with 3 hours with you, so we're not gonna talk until our ears fall off here. But either way, legit. Like, I love y'all. I love her. Maybe even
Well,
more.
we love you.
Which is more than I expected to even
I'll take
think.
it.
But like, y'all gotta come back on together and separately. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm the look. She's the personality. Clearly.
Stop. Y'all are both the same personality, which is why you vibe.
No,
so
she's
hard.
the looks. She's the looks and the personality. I just got lucky.
All right. So, Lush, like Amy just said, you blessed us with 3 hours of your time. And, I'm sure as the, repeat listeners hear this shit when I'm talking to guys like you, talking to guys like Penn, talking to guys like Direct. And this is no slight on the people that don't have as deep a history. But when I get to talk to you guys, and you guys give me this much time, it's fucking crazy because think of how many years I've been watching you, right? And been a fan of yours. And I didn't work in this area before. And now I am. And for you to give me this much time off of what we've done so far is something I really appreciate. So it's not some sort of pandering or some shit that's, like I said, it may sound like.
No, man, y'all do an incredible job, and not that many people would be able to sustain my interest for this long, and I greatly appreciate the insight, just like how much you put into your craft. It's quite palpable, and you do an incredible job, and I'm honored to be a part of it. I'm down to fuck with y'all anytime.
Thank you. We really appreciate that. And there's you got so many things going on, the music, obviously the KOTD Grand Prix, the future of KOTD stuff and everything else. What do you want to plug and tell everyone where they can find you? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it may be.
Man, Hockey Sticks _, Skrilla sign, H block, ONE pill, Lush One, baby. Look me up anywhere. There's a space between the Lush and the ONE. You'll find me on your digital streaming platform of choice, and I'm everywhere. You ain't never there. You feel me?
Hi, Amy. Amy, anything else you want to get in before we let Lush go?
Look, if you want to talk until 3 a.m, sure. But for tonight, nah, I'm good. Thank you for coming on, though.
It's definitely an honor rocking with y'all. We gonna get it popping again. Can't wait till this is out. Hopefully a lot of people will give it a gander. And it's all love.
For Amy Barton, for Lush One, I'm Jay Kelly. This is the Building Downtown. We out. Peace.
Building downtown. Building downtown. Building downtown. Building downtown.